What's up, guys? Hello. Happy Friday, motherfuckers. Oh, it feels so good. And my niece didn't have school today. You're probably wondering, you didn't have school today, why are you going live so late? It's a good question. I don't fucking have an answer for you. I'm glad to hear that. Well, sorry to hear that, Jeff, but also glad to hear it because, you know, the healing process is well underway. Alright, what are we watching? Hold on. I'm all fucked up. Okay. You made me laugh with the... It was kind of fun. No wins were had last night, by the way, on Fortnite. Maybe we'll try again tonight. Stream a little bit. No wins were had, man. Fucking tried. Your boy can't compete with these fucking 8-year-olds that have cat-like reflexes and their parents buy them an infinite supply of fucking G Fuel and they're also snorting Adderall. How can I win, guys? How could I? I'm just going in there trying to survive and trying to have a little bit of fun. Yo, Pin King, I haven't seen you in a hot minute. What's good? Thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate it. We will do it. Can you do Matt Best? Man, we haven't watched anything by good old Matt in a while. I like that guy. He seems like a cool dude. I'm gonna flex on you fucking nerds for a minute. He actually commented on one of my videos once upon a time. I felt accomplished. I felt good. But yeah, we'll do that. And you know what? Since it's Matt Best, we can do that here, even though it's music. The main place to do music, Pin King, is Twitch. If you don't use Twitch, that's fine. But if it's gonna be music, that would be the way to do it. Is someone like Matt that I don't really have to worry about. Well, I don't care about copyright, but I don't have to worry about a strike with this shit, so we can do it here. That's why I can't read the chat. You can fucking see. Renee, what's good? Just like new morning cartoons. Wait, what? Or this or my Fortnite video? I might stream that again tonight and just get some clips to upload for y'all. Got a 5-hour drive after I get off work. Oh, why? Was watching Comedy of a Midget in Iraq. Did y'all send me the link? Send it. Send it yesterday. No, that was... It's not a... I would have been down to see that, actually, when I was... Wait, why didn't that not pop up? Okay. Oh, we'll do that. We'll pull up Discord. What are you going to Oregon for? I can't say I've been. I've never been to any of those, like, those states way up there. I don't think I've ever ventured that far. The only time I ever ventured past Texas was to go to California, and that wasn't even by choice. Family. All right, let me check the. Okay, we need to start with this one by Captain Z. So we got one from Captain Z, one from Roth, and one from Umbreon. Captain Z, you have 2 in here, but I am going to make the executive decision to go with the Jacked History video first, and then if there's time, we'll check out the Crunchyroll stuff. Jin Woo versus Barca. Should we even watch that? Because I kind of plan on watching Solo Leveling at some point, I think. And by the way, guys, what is it? 22nd? At the beginning of next month, I'll be able to watch The Boys. I'll be able to finish the last 3-4 episodes, I think, that I haven't seen yet. That's when the TV will be fixed. So, don't tell me shit about The Boys. Don't ask me about The Boys. I don't know. I haven't. That and Fallout are the only 2 shows I can't watch right now because I don't have. That's the only fucking device with fucking Prime. Amazon. Okay. I'm gonna go with this. Wait, I'm like kind of confused. Just like, I just now read the title for the first time. Canadian War Crimes? From what I've heard and experienced, Canadians are nice people, even if they went to war with you. I don't really feel like they're not Americans, man. We'll kind of fuck on you really, really hard and borderline overkill and like kind of shock the planet with our. But Canadians. Let's see how hard they actually go. Who fixes TVs anymore? People that don't want to spend another $1,000 on a TV? Oh, you mean who fixes it? Dude, it's some guy. I tried doing it myself. I went through every troubleshooting method. I called my mom. She went online and looked through a whole bunch of troubleshooting methods. I ain't no dummy with tech, bro. It's just like, I'm not a TV mechanic. And I guarantee if I even attempted to try to fix that shit myself the way this person does, then I feel like I would just cause further damage. What? Have you seen Stitch versus Warhammer or Confessions of Ex-Disney Employees? I'm kind of down to watch both of those. I've never seen either of those. But I am intrigued in the Confessions of an Ex-Disney Employee. Because I have my assumptions. It'd be nice to hear it from the horse's mouth. And I haven't seen Stitch Warhammer. Is that like Stitch, like the little blue dude? Versus 40K Universe? If that's the case, how strong is Stitch? I mean, I saw those movies a long time ago. I think the original Lilo and Stitch I saw as a kid. How strong is that fucking thing? I don't remember. It always seemed like a cute little harmless creature. I don't remember the movies. This thing very well could be a god in a tiny body. I don't know. Okay. Wait, isn't this guy usually on the Unsubscribed podcast? I recognize the beard. I recognize that beard anywhere. That's him? I think so. Yeah, I've seen him on Unsubscribed a couple times. Oh no, given the thumbnail, Canadians actually went hard with their war crimes. Just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. In my head, I'm like, nah, even in combat, they'll be nice to you, right? Nice chaps. Probably not the case at all. Oh, wait. I don't have my headphones on. That's why I can't hear anything. So we're gonna do that. Stitch is indestructible. Why don't I remember this? I never watched any follow-up films, man. I watched the first Lilo and Stitch movie, and that was literally it. I didn't watch anything else. And it's not that I didn't enjoy the Lilo and Stitch movies. I just kind of got older and grew past it. I was like, oh, that was a fun little film to watch when I was younger, but I don't even know if I ever turned it off rough. But yeah, I didn't know that. Either I didn't know or I just flat out forgot that what's his face is that powerful. Okay. Oh. I'm guessing Jack History here is Canadian himself? Okay. Canadian war crimes in World War I and other wholesome stories.
Buddy, I'm Jack Mandeville, and this is Jack History. Rumors can be hurtful and damaging. If you grew up in the 90s like me, there was the rumor that Marilyn Manson had a rib removed so he could do the thing to himself.
Yes. Are we the same age? I remember that. I remember being a kid and just like telling other kids because I thought that I was the one. I thought I was the only one at the time with that information, but I wasn't because obviously I heard it from someone else. But I remember telling other kids like, dude, you know Marilyn Manson did this? And we were all like, oh, no way, really? Yeah. Kids. We didn't know what to believe back then.
With his mouth, that usually takes another person to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly
that rumor just started out of nowhere one day, and every kid in America just seemed to believe it without question, even though there's no evidence that was ever.
No evidence whatsoever, no photos, no nothing. We were just like, yep, he did that. Sorry, Marilyn.
A thing. Speaking of Marilyn Manson, there was also the rumor that Paul from the Wonder Years grew up to be Marilyn Manson. And we all just believed that shit until the internet became more.
I actually never heard that rumor at all whatsoever.
Common, and it could easily be disproved.
What an idiot! Oh, what a
loser!
And of course, there was the rumor in 5th grade that
More
Jack Mandeville pissed his pants during recess. But he had like a dozen witnesses that saw him fall in a puddle of mud while playing football. The wet spot was clearly above his crotch line. Seriously, who pisses themselves going up?
Are you talking about yourself? I have a feeling there's a little bit of a projection going on here, Jack History. Nah, yeah, there were so many rumors started about me when I was younger. I know how that goes. I'm no stranger to it. There was like a long-standing rumor from the time I was like, well, nah, from 5th grade to 7th grade, I think there was like a long-standing rumor that I was gay, even though I had girlfriends up to that point, and just I don't know.
If it
always
was
had
piss,
people attention.
The piss would be below the crotch line. It was just rainwater, not piss, okay? What was I saying? Oh yeah, rumors can be.
But I also started a rumor about my best friend in the 6th grade that he was gay. And matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, he may have been the one that started that rumor about me, because I started that rumor about him when I was in 6th grade, because he was trying to hit on a girl that I was, talking to at the time, and I couldn't let that shit slide. And I was a kid and very immature and petty, so I just went to school the very next day and told everyone that he was gay. Yeah. I remember that. So, karma.
Hurtful and hard to forget. But some rumors can have even more dangerous implications. While the French monarchy was definitely not a bunch of innocents by any means, a rumor started that Marie Antoinette, the wife of King Louis XVI, said, "Let them eat cake," or she was actually German, "let them eat cake." I can't do those accents. When questioned about the mass starvation of French
Let them eat the cake. I think I got it. I got you.
Citizens.
Let them eat cake.
While there's no proof she ever said that, that rumor was enough to be a contributing factor in the beheading of her and her husband.
Okay, so there is a lot to dissect and unpack about this cake. Does the cake have a different meaning? What's with the fucking cake? She was beheaded because of it.
And in World War I, a baseless rumor that started among Canadian troops was enough to send them into a level of war crimes that humbled pretty much everyone else on the battlefield. Today, we're talking.
Oh my god, y'all outdid us Americans in war crimes. That is just something worth applauding. Just real quick little golf clap for you. That's phenomenal.
About Canadian war crimes in World War I. Also, let me just be clear. There's no pure good versus pure evil in a war of that magnitude.
Oh, everyone's bad, man. That's why I don't understand why people get mad about war crimes, period, because the crime in itself is that we're going to war. There's already been crime committed. We are about to sacrifice life for either an idea or a religion or what the fuck ever. That's already a crime, man. So once you're in it, that's it. It's just war at that point. It's not fair, and it's not pretty. And that's just kind of how that, just let these motherfuckers operate, and when the war is over, the crime stops.
Nobody involved with that conflict were angels by any
No.
stretch of the imagination. It's just that when you look at the size of Canadian troops involved on the Allied side during that war, the stuff they did, both the heroics and shady stuff, it was disproportionately.
It's one of those things where, like, you can go to a combat zone and do good, but you're just gonna do bad. That's just what it is. There were some missions where we were out there doing the whole hearts and minds thing, right? But the very next day, we're pure fucking demons. It's one of those things that there is no balancing. That's just the way it works, and that's just the way combat evolves. And that's just the way it is. The people that don't think so are the ones that are sending us there, and the ones that are crying about the war in the first place that have never served or have family that serves. So I'm all for war crimes. I had it in my head very, very, like, early before I even deployed that if I got captured by the enemy, I was going to get tortured, I was going to get interrogated, and then I would proceed to not say a goddamn thing, and then I was going to be beheaded. I already knew that was my reality. That's it. I came to peace with that, right? Yet the goddamn US government told us that if we captured these motherfuckers, we had to be nice and respectful and treat them with courtesy and respect. You know, all the things that they would never show us. And I always thought it was cowardly, and I always thought it was weak. I always thought it was like, what kind of fucking pussy are we to take the high road? There is no high road, bro. Look around. This is war. Like,
Furthermore, while French and British peoples were truly feeling the effects of the war on their home soil, why did Canadian troops from thousands of miles away, whose civilians were completely safe compared to the French and British,
maybe try refreshing. Let me just check to make sure it's not me. If it is, it's just a matter of time. But nah, everything's good here on my end. If I was dropping frames or something, I'd check.
go so hard on the Germans? And I'm not even going to bring up the US troops because we didn't come into the war until about halfway through third period.
Yeah.
That's a hockey reference because, you know, this
Canada.
episode's about Canada.
Canada.
All right, let's back it up a bit for some context. Prior to the 20th century, Canada's military was only really used to service the British Crown in times of need. Simply explained, the Brits would be up to something around North America and they'd snatch up Canadians to fill up their ranks in times of need. The most notable example is during the War of 1812 when Canadian soldiers shared in the credit of burning down the American White House. We haven't forgotten about that, Canada. It wasn't until the Second Boer Wars in the early
No, he's not Canadian. I don't know why I made the assumption that he was.
20th century that Britain used Canadians in overseas deployments, and right around that time, Canada established its own independent army, navy, and air force.
Pilot, bomber down, pilot, bomber down. We're nearing the target. The bomb's ready, buddy.
By the time World War I broke out, though they had more autonomy over their military forces, Canada sprung into action in Europe. It was early in Canada's distinguished service in World War I that a rumor spread amongst Canuck troops that a Canadian officer had been captured and crucified on a barn door by the Germans. There has never been any evidence that this ever happened.
But those troops don't need verification. They're on their fucking way. And not only are they on their way, they're not going to be nice about it when they get there.
Most historians agree it never happened, but a rumor is a rumor.
These troops don't care.
I get that. You ever seen that HBO miniseries, Generation Kill?
Mm-mm.
The part where a rumor spreads around the camp that J-Lo died and the entire division is obsessed about it and can't get it out of their minds? Well, that wasn't some anecdote by the screenwriters. I was in 1st Marine Division at that time, in the same camp as those guys depicted in the miniseries, and we really were freaked out about that rumor. And if something as silly as that could get people in 2003 to be bummed,
J-Lo? I mean, y'all had a whole bunch of like altered, documented. Y'all had like a whole bunch of, what is it? Deep fakes of J-Lo, didn't y'all? A whole bunch of nudes. Now that she's gone, so are the nudes. I don't know. J-Lo, really? That's interesting. I never really put her on the same level as Michael Jackson because, you know, that did affect the troops. Hell, the United States government even flew a flag at half-mast for this fucking guy, but damn, who knew? J-Lo?
you could only imagine how a rumor could spread in 1915 that one of your own was crucified like a fucking biblical character. To add on to that, as we're about to get into the war crimes, Canadians were among the hardest hit when the Germans first used poison gas in 1915.
Yeah.
And we do know for a fact that happened, and it was an experience straight out of a horror movie for those young men. Even into the early days of the war, troops on both sides had developed a live and let live policy where both sides agreed to not attack each other unless ordered to by the higher ups. This, for example, is highlighted in the famous Christmas truce when German and British soldiers.
Yeah, we've listened to so many songs and watched so many documentaries and just YouTube videos about this one singular event, and it's a true story, and it's very, very good, right? It's just that I do want to believe, and I'm almost certain that this was the only and last time that any of this type of behavior was exemplified by military in general. Not just America, just overall military. This was like one of the first. This will never happen again, I don't feel. I would never. There is no way in absolute fuck that I would ever just, be like, yo, Taliban, y'all want to take a day off? Maybe just like chill, have some tea, maybe eat some bread, maybe just like hang out. Y'all want to come play some Madden for a little bit and then tomorrow we get back to it? Absolutely not. No, never. In fact, I would try that just to lure one of these little bastards in close and then cap his ass, right? That's kind of how that would go. But they're not that stupid. They're not going to do that either because, man, how much war has evolved.
Temporarily stopped the fighting to break bread.
fucking fuck. It'll be fine though. At least show the jiggle physics on this. No, just the face. That's
Play soccer with each other. Well, Canadians were having none of that. The following Christmas, when Germans tried to do that with the opposing Canadians, it didn't end well for them. Merry Christmas, Canada, the German soldiers yelled as they popped over the trench and waved boxes of cigars at the Canucks as a peace offering.
like, honestly, I wish that combat still was like the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Do y'all remember that movie? Super good movie. And there are some entities around the world, definitely in the higher echelons of special operations, that operate like that, or, you know, CIA, high secretive operatives, spies and stuff like that. Kind of still happens, but just like overall warfare, I kind of wish it was still like that. Like, there's so many rules now, man. Like, I don't really give a shit that your hands are behind your back or your hands are up. If the tables were turned, you'd kill me. So fuck you.
So what did the Canadians decide to do? Well, they mowed them down with machine guns.
Good.
There was also an instance when, sitting in their trenches, Canadians tossed tins of corned beef hash into the hungry and beleaguered German trenches. These Germans
Go ahead. Come out of your trench. Come get it. How hungry are you? That's fantastic.
who were used to exchanging such pleasantries with the British and French,
The Germans are like, hey guys, they're coming around. Come on, let's go get this food. Bam. Done. Gone. Fuck you. You can eat that in hell.
began screaming, "More! More! Give us more!" in broken English.
Or you could have poisoned the food. That would have been equally as fun, but not as exciting.
So the Canadians moved closer to the now more comfortable Germans, and they proceeded to launch a barrage of grenades into
What's
the
up,
trench
bitch?
and just wiped out the complacent
Remember a couple years ago when y'all were fucking on us with gas? Yes, sir. We do.
German soldiers. God damn.
I can't.
Wait. Maybe this was just a language barrier thing? Maybe they didn't realize the Germans were trying to show solidarity in their body language.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
This was deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian officers were known for explicit
But rest assured, that only works once. Because the enemy is going to adapt. They always do. The enemy is going to evolve. They always do. They're not going to keep getting fucked on. Well, unless you're the Germans and they're actually into that shit, because they truly do love running into machine gun fire in big groups of 5,000 and losing 5,000. But,
explicitly ordering their men not to take prisoners. One former private recounted his officer told him, and I quote, "Remember, no prisoners. They will just eat up your rations." And boy, did they
and slow you down, or quite possibly plot against you. You're a platoon. You're a squad of 8, and you take 20 prisoners. Yeah, you have the guns, but if they coordinate well enough, they can quite possibly. I don't want to say they'll overpower you or win. At the end of the day, you still have guns. But why even put yourself in that situation? Fucking Charlie Mike, man.
love bayoneting surrendering enemy. Like straight up, hands up, no weapon, white flag. That wasn't good enough for the Canadians.
Kill him. I am not mad at you, Canada. This is not a crime to me. Don't let the soft, sensitive pussies of society convince you otherwise, okay?
One former Canadian officer was quoted as saying, "We rushed them and they had the nerve to throw up their hands and cry, 'Comrade!' All the comrade they got was a foot of cold steel through them." Damn. One Canadian POW was told, after taking a beating from a German officer,
The only thing this video is doing is making me like Canada more and more, really, for the most part. And I never even disliked them.
"I don't care for the English, Scotch, French, Australians, or Belgians, but damn you Canadians, you take no prisoners, and you kill our wounded." That's not a good German accent, is it, Peter? It's not that good.
It's not bad. It wasn't like super terrible.
You think the Germans are going to critique it, or they? Well, they're not. I'm not speaking German, so they're not going to give me shit for it, right? Okay. And of course, there's the well-documented case where a Canadian soldier was walking past a captured German and decided to just pop open his grenade, put it in the German's little sleeve, and walk away and let the German just blow up. And nobody did anything to stop him.
That kind of gets on my nerves, really, because that's such a waste of a grenade, man. You should have waited till like you were close to more of them and then put it in his pocket so you can take out like 6, 7 at a time. That would be hilarious. You just wasted a whole ass grenade on one guy. I mean, I guess, man. Fuck games and all, sure, but just wasting equipment.
Before I go further, I hope none of you are getting the impression that this war was some sort of honorable endeavor where both sides were
I've never gotten that impression at all. Only people who have never served get that impression.
perfectly living by the codes of war.
Yeah, the only time you're gonna go to war with someone, I feel, and there's gonna be a code that everyone follows. What's that one sport where you have the tiny little swords that, bro, like even without equipment, these things can't even hurt you. It's like getting and they got the beehive mask and the all white suit, and they're just like Angar, right? I don't even know if they say that, but what's that one sport? I feel like that's the only time you can go to war with someone and your opponent is going to follow fencing, and your opponent is going to follow the rules to a T. Come on, man. Like, hell, Mike Tyson said fuck the rules in boxing. You know what I mean? So, like, it just doesn't matter. And especially in this environment, I hate calling it a crime. We're past that, man. Oh.
On both sides by all nationalities. It's just that Canadians had really
And I don't fault the enemy for doing the very same thing. Yo, this is very well understood amongst soldiers. This is very well understood amongst military. I don't care what country you're from. Kill me or I kill you. That's just it. No throwing the hands up. We're fucking here now. We're past discussion. We're past debate. We're past words. The politicians failed to do that. We're here now, right? So I'm killing you. That's just it, man. Like, and I expect the same from you. That's why the Canadians were so fucking mad. Like, how dare you put your hands up? What kind of pussy are you? No, gross. Get them the fuck out. Send them to hell, right? So I expect that from the enemy. I expect it from my comrades. I expect it from myself, you know? Like, it's just one of those things. We understand it. But there's a lot of people that they're just like, but it's so ugly. Yeah, it's supposed to be ugly. Again, it's not supposed to be, oh, Lord.
Carved out an extra brutal reputation, partly due to the fact that they were being utilized in
Umbreon, you good? No more buffering for any of you guys? Again, I don't think it was me, but
offensive operations at a disproportionately high rate. So the stories of their brutalness were more shared. Americans that showed up during the last year of the war also got a reputation as overly aggressive with their use of shotguns during trench raids. There was just something.
Well, I mean, when you're doing everything the Germans were doing, especially to women and children, let's see how fucking tough you actually are. It's easy to impose your will on the weak. Let's see how tough you are against a real opponent. We're going in. We're going fucking hard. Hey. And that can happen anywhere. Remember the movie Good Will Hunting, where that douchebag at the bar walks up to Ben Affleck's character and starts trying to make him look stupid, trying to flex in front of the lady, right? Speaking down to everybody. And then here comes the main character to make you feel fucking stupid, to drop you down a peg. You think you're tough? Guess what? You think you're smart? I'm a goddamn genius, okay? Let's see how smart you actually are. So,
about those North American
Katai,
boys
what's
that
good?
made them a little more savage than those European boys. Speaking of trench raids, Canadians love that shit. While many friendly and enemy European nations were abandoning the practice,
The only time I'll consider it a crime is if you do it on purpose with malicious intent to a civilian. really. But then again, and especially in my type of combat, it was hard to distinguish, man. The enemy dressed like the civilians. The enemy was the civilians, really, for the most part. They blended in plain sight, invisible, right? To where you could not spot these guys, ever. They could be standing right next to you with ill intent, and you wouldn't know it, man. So, but again, if you can avoid shooting an innocent woman or a small kid that clearly is of no threat to you, avoid that shit, because I do consider that a crime. They're not the point here. They're not the purpose, right? But at the same time, you also have to remember that that is a good way to hurt your enemy. Because the whole purpose of a war is to protect your civilian population, right? The whole purpose of a war is to protect your own, right? Well, what if we wanted to get really diabolical and say, you know what, we're not gonna go after the troops. We're gonna go after your people. Without your people, what do you have, really? At the end of the day, fucking nothing. You just have a military that's gonna sit there protecting nothing. But not too many militaries opt to go that route because the objective is just more important, and but still.
This near the end of the war, the Canucks went hard at it. They'd put on thick black rubber gloves, paint their faces black in a time that really wasn't a thing in warfare yet. They'd load up on homemade pipe bombs and other out of the ordinary weapons. They'd fix bayonets, then move quietly in the middle of the night until they found a German trench, launch a wall of explosives, and just lay waste once they jumped in. Shooting at point blank range, bayoneting soldiers to death, strangling them to death. And like I said earlier, it was
That guy ran out of ammo. That's fantastic. Ashley, what's good?
Pointless to try to surrender to them. Trench raids proved little tactical advantage. Main offensive charges were meant to take and hold ground, as you do in war. Trench raids were purely there to wreak havoc, deplete enemy numbers, and crush their morale. It all
For the love of the fucking game, man, really.
makes sense why Canadians excelled at this. Europe was more industrialized. More people lived in the city. And not that city tough doesn't bring its own brand of grit, but
Canadians are from the fucking woods, bro. They're from the wilderness. And if you throw a lumberjack-sized country boy from the fucking woods in Canada and you put him up against a slick-haired city boy, my money is on the guy from the woods. More oftentimes than not.
Canada in the early 20th century was mostly backwoods other than a few cities. Where only 20% of Canadians now are considered rural, it was...
Aladdin has a crazy looking tan right there. That's crazy.
Men don't doom scroll.
Hold on. Jesus. Aladdin, you spent way too much time at the tanning bed, my dude.
And not that city tough doesn't bring its own brand of grit, but Canada in the early 20th century was mostly backwoods other than a few cities. Where only 20% of Canadians now are considered rural, it was around 55% during World War I. These are people that were cut off from any outside help. They had to do what they had to do to survive in most provinces.
And on top of that, the main thing that he'll probably get to here in a second is the terrain, man. It's like Batman and Bane. The darkness, man. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see a 4-lane highway until I was nearly a man. And by the time I got, you know what I'm saying? So they got their work cut out for them while the city boys have to learn how to adapt to this environment that they've spent their whole fucking life in. Stalk,
Hunt, and live off the animals they killed. Survive off the things they could only grow in a select part of the year.
So you're fighting an enemy that has their resiliency stats are completely maxed out. That's pretty much it. You are going to have to punch hard and punch a lot with these guys.
Their dwellings on their own, protect themselves and their families in no man's land.
Yeah.
brave, sketchy roads to travel anywhere significant. It was a hard-ass place to live and produced hard-ass people. I don't know if you've ever been to Manitoba in the winter.
Oh, and the weather, bro. You can't be no bitch in Canadian weather. There's no way. Might as well leave if you can't take it.
Time, but that place is brutal. Or if you've ever met folks from Alberta, like I did in the oil field, they can be real assholes. And then there's my friend Dylan from Hamilton, Ontario. He fights bears. Bears. So yeah, it should be no surprise that when World War II came calling 20 years later, Allied European forces were ready to welcome back the Canadians as folks that were willing to go an extra mile in combat. And boy, do they have some good war crime doozies from that conflict too. But I'm gonna end it there, as this episode is only about World War I, and we have 3 episodes to film today. Oh, let me guess, because this is an episode about Canada, you're gonna go to the comments section and comment, 51st state. Real original. You're Shane Gillis. You're a genius. You're a comedic genius for that comment. No, really. You should comment that because it creates more engagement for me. If you're an American, comment 51st state. Actually, if you're a Canadian, comment back towards the Americans who are...
I wouldn't mind Canada being our 51st state. I don't think that I would be opposed to that. And I'm honestly shocked that it hasn't happened yet. Really. Maybe Canadians don't want to be American. Maybe that's what they love most about being Canadians. They're not us. Like, we like y'all. Y'all are some pretty cool neighbors, but nah, we're fine up here. It's good. Y'all are a bit too rowdy, too fucking loud, too rambunctious. And y'all have TikTok. It's fine. It's good.
Commenting 51st state. Get into it with each other. It's good for engagement. Please like, subscribe.
I like how he just incited violence in his own comment section. This is a war crime video. Makes sense.
Share, push that notification button, and binge watch other episodes if you haven't seen them yet. Oh, Canada, I stand on guard.
One of my good friends from high school, we met in high school and we've been friends ever since. We game every now and again. He's from Canada. He has dual citizenship here and there. He is not one of those nice Canadians. I mean, he's nice to me because we're boys, but he is not. He is not your stereotype Canadian that everyone pictures when they think of the nice people of Canada. No, he's one of these types of people. Like, he will gladly go fight in a war, and he's not even in the military just to fucking kill people. For real, because he would be allowed to do it. He's one of those types. He would have volunteered for some shit like this had he grown up in this time. I didn't go to basic training, but if we're just like killing indiscriminately, I'm your fucking man. Like, he's there. You're making tacos? I have leftover hot dogs and hamburgers from yesterday. Because my niece didn't eat any of them, obviously. Is Umbreon the only one buffering? No one else is buffering, right?
For thee. How's that, Peter?
No, Christian, he's more akin to Deadpool, but without the sense of humor and the smart mouth. Pretty much.
Canadians, you scream your ass off. Canadians, when they do war crimes. Canadians, when they get in hockey fights. Canadians.
And you should have just looked at the sport of hockey and just known that Canadians would be badass on the fucking battlefield, because their whole sport encourages violence. From the way it's played to... They encourage fight. They'll even let you fight. Bro, what other sport will just let you throw fucking hands in the middle of the game? They even pause the game for it. Everyone stands around. They're probably even making bets. So it's just like, yeah, you're gonna have a tough time dealing with these fucking dudes. Oh, that's probably why, Umbreon, you're at work and you're not home. But dude, I walked to the gas station yesterday, which is like literally, bro, it's not far. I can walk to the 7-Eleven and back in less than 15 minutes. That's how far it is. It's not that far. I was trying to watch videos on my phone as I walked. It was a beautiful day. Decided to walk. I didn't want to drive. And so I was trying to watch videos. I was stopping. I wasn't even buffering. It would just like stop playing. And I have to close out YouTube, open it back up, and I look at my service and it's phenomenal, right? And then I actually connected to the whatever is the closest Wi-Fi thing in the gas station, and then my YouTube wouldn't even respond, really, because the Wi-Fi was that fucking bad. And I was just like, that's rough. Look at this jackass. Nobody likes you. Nobody. Not even your own people. Like, at least there's people here in America that do like Donald Trump. There was people in America that did like Joe Biden. I don't think anybody fucking likes you, man. Left, right, down the middle, angled. I don't know, man. This guy's hated unanimously, I feel. All right. Roth, are you here? We got another one by Jacked History, which is fine. But if Roth isn't here, we'll move on to the next one, which is Umbreon's. Which, if you're buffering Umbreon, should we even watch yours until you're more stable? Hold on. Oh, that was magical. No Roth. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Umbreon, I think we should wait to do yours, right? I don't want to. But then again, this is YouTube. Y'all can always watch it back later. Let me check the variety section. I don't even know what that means, Christian. Let's see. This is only 8 minutes. We should finish the patron stuff, but we'll do that in time. Roth isn't here at the moment. Umbreon's having problems. I don't feel right running it just yet, even if he can watch it back later. So let me check the public section, which is, you know what? I'll do this one, Christian. 10 most haunted roads where people go missing. I mean, if we're gonna watch this type of stuff, we might as well watch Nuke's top 5 or something, or top 10. I don't. He does a bit of both. Sometimes even like top 20. Okay. You know what? Hold on. I just want to see. Okay. Oh yeah, Tim Wakefield. Okay. We're good. Matthew Santoro. I really do feel like I've seen a video by him years ago. That name sounds so familiar. At the very least, the last name sounds very familiar. But 10 haunted roads where people go missing. Did you at least go to these roads? Or are you just going to tell us about them? Either way is fine. But I like seeing whenever a motherfucker actually goes to the haunted place. But I understand the apprehensiveness. People go fucking missing here, and I'm not about to go missing for the sake of a YouTube video. So that kind of pushes me out of the genre on YouTube that's called ghost hunting. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about me being afraid of what I'm going to find. It's about me being petrified of bringing something back with me. And now it's in here, fucking on me. You know what I mean? I'm not with it. I'm not with it even in the fucking slightest. We have 2 haunted roads here in Maine. There's a haunted bridge where I'm from called Crybaby Bridge. And it's real. I went. Not by myself, with a group of friends when I was a teenager. And well, the legend was true. I got out of there fast as fuck. Never went back. You couldn't even pay me. Puerto Rico has plenty of those. What? Haunted places? Haunted roads? Fuck the ghosts, man. There's places in Puerto Rico you don't want to go to straight up just because of the fucking people. Like, you hear it all the time here in America, like, you know, neighborhoods so bad that not even the police will go in there. Yeah, there was places like that in Puerto Rico when I was a kid. Like, my mom would get hella fucking mad if I ended up going somewhere that was even remotely close to these places. She's like, son, you're gonna fuck around and go goddamn missing. And I was like, all right, my bad. Sorry.
Disappearances, screams in the dark, roads where the air feels thick with dread. These aren't just your average ghost stories. These are real highways where people vanish and are never seen again. Welcome to 10 haunted roads where
like on foot, right? Because I can't imagine you just disappear while you're in your car driving down this fucking road.
People go missing. The Shades of Death Road. Even the name sounds like a warning. Shades of Death Road. Nestled in rural Warren County, New Jersey, this winding stretch of...
Now I wonder, did this street get that name because of this very reason? Or was it just named this and then the paranormal shit started happening afterwards and it's just a coincidence that it's called this? Did they name it strictly because of the weird shit?
Highway is infamous for eerie fog, vanishing hitchhikers, and an alarming number of disappearances.
He probably told me. Let me go back.
Of Death Road. Even the name sounds like a warning. Shades of Death Road. Nestled in rural Warren County, New Jersey, this winding stretch of...
Jersey? Katai. Oh, it's a coincidence. Then there is Clinton Road. Yeah, you're the only person from Jersey that I know, so I had to ask. Katai, have you ever ventured close at all, whatsoever, or do you do what I do and you engage in massive amounts of self-preservation?
Highway is infamous for eerie fog, vanishing hitchhikers, and an alarming number of disappearances. Its origins go back to the 1800s, when the road was reportedly the site of several grisly killings and highway robberies. The Shades are believed to refer to the thick tree canopy, but locals whisper about shadowy figures that chase drivers and pedestrians alike.
Bro, I don't like roads like that, man. I really don't. The way he described it, I can literally picture it in my mind. It's like one road and you got trees on both sides and the trees kind of like cave over a little bit. They like bend to where if you had a sunroof and looked up, all you'd see is trees. You can't even see the sky. I don't like roads like that. That shit makes me feel weird. I've been down roads like that, and I'm just like, I either got to turn around or I got to get the fuck out of here. Hopefully this ends, man. I do not like that. It's just like a weird visual. It almost looks like you're going into a tunnel, but you're not. It's just trees. That's...
Over the decades, residents have shared dozens of chilling tales of cars breaking down inexplicably, travelers going missing, and strange lights dancing in the woods. In the 1990s, multiple bodies were even discovered dumped along the roadside, sparking rumors that the area attracts not only the paranormal, but the sinister. The combination of brutal history and modern disappearances makes this...
I mean, dude, look at it. If that is an accurate photo, or if that's an accurate depiction of the area, that's a prime place to dump a dead person. Really, that's kind of like a prime place to dump just about fucking anything.
Road, one of the most terrifying stretches of asphalt in America. Clinton Road. Clinton Road is arguably...
So you've been down Clinton Road, Katai? Kids from my school went to Shades of Death Road. They said it's crazy. Once. Yeah, dude. Crybaby Bridge was literally... And it's literally called Crybaby Bridge. I never went back, man. I never went back. Like, I really, really wanted to believe and spent, like, the next week lying to myself, telling myself that it was just my friends fucking with me. Or that... But, dude, no. I looked around. I looked at everyone's face. I looked at everyone's mouth. Everyone was just, like, stone cold silent. And we just, like, were hearing this thing. This crying, man. And it's not coming from my friends. It's not coming from the ladies we're with. No one ventured off by themselves. It's not like we left the evening. We left for the evening, got back to the car, and a random person that we didn't know was with us just shows up, and he's like, "Ah, I got you guys, fucking with y'all." No, it was none of that, man. Like, I know when I'm being trolled. I know when I'm being fucked with. I know when someone's trying to, like, you know, at least in that way. It didn't feel that way. It felt bad. It really did.
Probably one of the most haunted roads in the US, and with good reason. Stretching through West Milford, New Jersey.
Well, first off, it's called Clinton. So that says a lot. There's already a fucking demon on this planet that exists with that last name, so it kind of makes sense.
Jersey, this desolate road is associated with everything from ghost sightings.
And if you're just a random person with the last name Clinton, I'm not talking about you. You know what I'm talking about.
To occult gatherings. But perhaps the most famous legend involves the Ghost Boy Bridge, where throwing coins into the water supposedly causes a ghostly child to toss them back. But Clinton Road is far more than urban legend. It's connected to real-world horror. In 1983, a cyclist discovered a body in the woods near the road. Authorities later linked it to Richard Kuklinski, a notorious mafia hitman nicknamed the Iceman. The discovery sparked a new wave of fears that Clinton...
I gotta hear that one more time, because that sounds like a movie that needs to be made.
Near the road. Authorities later linked it to Richard Kuklinski, a notorious mafia hitman nicknamed the Iceman. The discovery sparked a new wave of fears that Clinton...
He was... The mafia guy was discovered here?
Causes a ghostly child to toss them back. But Clinton Road is far more than urban legend. It's connected to real-world horror. In 1983, a cyclist discovered a body in the woods near the road. Authorities later linked it to Richard Kuklinski, a notorious mafia hitman nicknamed the Iceman.
So, you found a body that Iceman killed, or you found Iceman himself?
The discovery sparked a new wave of fears that Clinton Road wasn't just haunted, it was cursed. Drivers report phantom headlights tailgating.
He dumped his victims. Okay, I was about to say, how the hell does someone get a leg up or an advantage on a mafia hitman like that and just dumps their body in the fucking woods? I was a little confused there with how he delivered that. Had me thinking that someone found the body of a mafia hitman, and I'm just like, good God. Yeah, I'm never going to that place, because if not even mafia hitmen are safe there, nah.
Them before vanishing, and a palpable sense of being watched. With multiple reports of missing persons and abandoned vehicles found along the route, this road isn't just eerie, it's dangerous.
Did that say Hellhounds?
Kelly Road. Tucked into the quiet borough of Ohioville, Pennsylvania, Kelly Road is a short but spine-chilling drive known by locals as Mystery Mile. While it seems peaceful at first glance, stories abound of vehicles that stall inexplicably, electronics that short out, and even wildlife that becomes suddenly aggressive along a particular stretch. What makes it especially disturbing is the number of people who have vanished without a trace after last being seen heading down this road. Despite no official explanation, paranormal investigators have linked this location to potential ley lines.
There's so many roads. There's so many roads like this in Georgia. Is that this is looks so familiar. I've been down roads that look just like this.
Or residual energy fields. Some believe the area is cursed, citing Native American burial grounds nearby and stories of early settlers vanishing without explanation. Witnesses frequently describe seeing
Yeah, but back then they were on horse and carriage. Maybe the horses just like stopped walking. Like, nah, I don't feel right. I'm not going any further, and then they get got. I don't know.
spectral figures darting across the road and hearing whispers from the forest. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, even the police approach this road with caution, especially after sunset. Route 44. Route 44 in Rehoboth is more than
So what happened when the police went? What happened when the police got there? So many questions.
just a road, it's a portal to the unexplainable. This highway cuts through the infamous Bridgewater Triangle, an area known for its bizarre and chilling activity. But it's Route 44 in particular that draws the most fear. Drivers report seeing a man in a red flannel shirt who suddenly appears on the road and then vanishes. Others say he even appears inside moving vehicles. But even stranger are the cases of travelers who simply disappear while using the route. Local law enforcement has investigated multiple missing persons cases along Route 40, many of which remain unsolved. Radios suddenly emit static-laced voices, headlights flicker, and GPS systems stop working entirely on this stretch. Paranormal groups have detected unexplained EMF spikes and cold spots. Though this is just a two-lane road, Route 44 has a body count, and no one knows when it will claim its next victim. Marfa Highway 90. Deep in the heart of West Texas lies a remote stretch of Highway 90 near the town of Marfa. Known for its mysterious Marfa lights, this desolate road is also linked to something far more sinister. The lights, which many believe are UFOs or interdimensional phenomena, often appear before or after unexplained disappearances. Several hikers and drivers have gone missing after attempting to investigate the lights themselves. One such case involves a young couple from 2013 who pulled over to take pictures. Neither they nor their vehicle were ever seen again. Locals report cars shutting off for no reason and cell service completely vanishing, even in areas where the signal should be strong. There's even a recurring story of a black pickup truck that appears to chase cars off the road before disappearing into thin air. The combination of desert isolation, strange lights, and vanishing people give Marfa Highway 90 its terrifying reputation. Belchen Tunnel, Switzerland. Hidden in the scenic Jura Mountains of Switzerland is the Belchen Tunnel, a road so creepy it has its own resident ghost. Since the 1980s, numerous drivers have reported picking up a pale elderly woman in white who suddenly vanishes from the back seat after a few minutes of driving. Locals call her the White Lady of Belchen Tunnel, and she's not just a spooky tale, she's linked to several accidents and disappearances. The Swiss authorities have investigated multiple cases of drivers who went missing shortly after reporting a ghost sighting in the tunnel. Even more unsettling, there are recorded emergency calls where the audio is laced with what sounds like whispering voices. Whether it's a specter, time slip, or something far stranger, the one thing that is clear is that people go in and sometimes they never come out. It's the kind of road that makes you lock your doors and pray you don't break down inside of it. Route 375. Nicknamed the extraterrestrial
Did those fuckers in Hills Have Eyes drive pickup trucks? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. It's literally called Extraterrestrial Highway. It's probably somewhere close to Area 51. I don't know. I think those fuckers were just fast. They were mutated beyond all get out. They did? I can't remember. I saw both of those movies. I don't know if they made a third one. And there was an original from like, there was a old original one from like the 80s or something that I never watched.
Highway, Nevada's Route 375 is notorious for its proximity to Area 51, but the road has its own legacy of terror. Stretching through barren desert, this road has been the last known location for multiple missing persons. Drivers frequently report lights in the sky, missing time, and sudden detours that don't appear on any map. In one 2006 case, a motorist disappeared only to be found days later, wandering in a daze over 100 miles from where they were last seen. Then there are others who have never been found. Some claim abduction, while others blame secret military experiments. Surveillance footage from gas stations near the road has captured figures walking towards the desert and then vanishing mid-frame. Radio interference and dead zones are constant. Whether it's aliens, top secret tech, or something even weirder, Route 375 may be beautiful by day, but after dark, it's a place you drive through fast and never look back.
Well, it is desert, desolate area, so unless you get there, yeah, getting in and getting the fuck out as fast as possible is the move.
Niles Canyon Road. Located in Bay Area, Niles Canyon Road is steeped in legend and death. For decades, people have reported a woman in a white gown, believed to be a ghost bride, wandering the road at night.
Yo, that's what I was talking about the other day in the wartime stories video. We were discussing La Llorona, and that's what I was talking about. Remember how I told you that it's not just isolated to America? It's not just like, bro, it's everywhere. This lady in a white dress. It almost looks like a wedding gown, kind of. Just not as like wild as you would see in the movies, but or on TV. It's just like regular white dress or whatever. But yeah, that's what I was talking about, and it's not isolated to one place.
Legend says she died in a car crash on her wedding night and now waits for someone to give her a ride. But there's a darker side. Some who have reportedly seen her have vanished. In 2014, a motorcyclist was last seen traveling this road before vanishing completely. His bike was found, but not his body. Others speak of fog rolling in unnaturally fast, causing disorientation and crashes. The road has one of the highest fatal accident.
What is unnaturally fast for fog rolling up? Because I've experienced times where, bro, it wasn't foggy, and then out of nowhere, bam, like I can't fucking see it. Oh my god. So what is unnaturally fast for fog? Because I've seen fog manifest fairly quickly before. I mean, it's kind of rare, but places that I've lived, at one point it's not foggy, and then I'll be driving, and then I do 2 seconds later, I can't fucking see anything. I can't even see 5 feet in front of me. So
rates in the area, and locals have pushed for years to add lights or railings without success. With a deadly curve called the Devil's Elbow and vanishing hitchhikers still reported today, Niles Canyon is not just haunted, it's a hunter. A75 Kinmont Strait. Known as Scotland's Ghost Road, the A75 Kinmont Strait is infamous for terrifying paranormal activity and unexplained vanishings. Drivers report animals running into the road and then vanishing upon impact, phantom pedestrians who walk directly into traffic and then disappear, and even full apparitions staring from the roadside. Perhaps the most chilling account came from 1997 when a trucker swerved to avoid a figure only to find out that there was no one there. Then his rig stopped working for over an hour. He later learned others had reported the same entity in the exact same spot. A disturbing number of drivers who've traveled the A75 have experienced lost time, often arriving hours late without knowing why. Even stranger, in several historical cases, people driving this road were reported missing, their last known contact being a call made from the roadside emergency phone. The phone was later found ripped from its socket and the callers never located. Highway of Tears. What? The most haunting road on this list isn't just terrifying, it's tragic.
I've never seen a roadside phone before. Maybe that's just particular to that country.
Stretching over 700 kilometers or 435 miles in British Columbia, the Highway of Tears is where dozens of women, many indigenous, have gone missing or killed since 1970. Officially known as Highway 16, the road passes through vast, isolated areas with little cell coverage or traffic. The women were often last seen hitchhiking or walking, with many still missing decades later. Despite some arrests, the majority of cases remain unsolved. Local tribes believe the area is cursed, while activists argue systemic neglect and racism have allowed the horrors to continue.
What?
Majority of cases remain unsolved. Local tribes believe the area is cursed, while activists argue systemic neglect and racism have allowed the horrors to continue.
Systemic racism is the reason that these ladies are out here on the streets by themselves hitchhiking? What? What do you mean? How is that anyone else's fault other than the person that's walking on the side of the fucking road?
Majority of cases remain unsolved. Local tribes believe the area is cursed, while activists argue systemic neglect and racism have allowed the horrors to continue.
Systemic neglect. Well, I don't even know what that means. So because of racism and neglect, we don't care. How does that even make sense? Oh my God, I'm trying to do the mental gymnastics, but I can't. It's too hard. I'm trying to figure out what the, you know what? Oh, silly me. That's the point. That's the point, Falcon. It's an activist. It's not supposed to make sense. And here you are like a dumbass trying to wrap your head around something retarded. Silly me. Let's just continue. Oh my God.
Continue. In recent years, new surveillance efforts and public awareness have increased, but the disappearances haven't stopped entirely. Some even say spirits now walk the highway, warning others not to make the same mistake. This isn't just a haunted road, it's a
Well, you know, in my opinion, I think it's a bad idea to walk the fucking highway, even on a highway that's not haunted. That's just me, though, because systemic neglect and racism aside, I was raised by a smart person that told me, don't walk on the fucking highway or on the side of the road. But I mean, hey, there's always someone, you know, have y'all tried blaming it on Donald Trump yet? Y'all should try that, see if that works next. It's very easy.
National tragedy still seeking justice. But that's it. Let me know which one of these roads you guys found the most creepy. Of course, leave a comment below and a like.
All right. We're good. Good on that. Oh, okay. I'm about to go get me a fucking banana. I'm so hungry. Umbreon, you stop lagging? Customer states. For those of you who like to say, the customer is always right, this video and videos like this is just proof that's catastrophically fucking false. Okay? As a customer, you're entitled to want what you want, but you're not entitled to be correct. That's just it. And when it comes to cars, you're the customer, not the fucking mechanic. You don't goddamn know shit, do you? Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Hold on. Be right back. Okay. Hold on. I had to get some fucking snacks. And now, I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay. I'm so hungry. Okay. I'm about to inhale this banana. And then eat these chips. I had to get one of like the older bananas because my niece gets mad if I grab the new ones. Okay, what are we doing? Okay. Zaxby's? No. I'm gay for eating a banana? No. When it comes to bananas, here's the golden rule, John. You bring the banana to your mouth. Straight. You take your mouth to the banana. Gay. That's how that works. Okay? Well, yeah, dude, I plan on inhaling these fucking Fritos and this bean dip too, but here we go. Do you want that? Do you want this big screen? Want this? We'll do big. What side of the screen is the video on? Okay, it's in the middle. Guys, from now on, when I'm streaming, I see this every fucking time when I try to upload a video, and I'm like, oh god damn it. From now on, when I'm streaming, if my face cam is covering something important on the video, can y'all tell me? Can y'all speak up? There was a video we watched the other day. I planned on uploading it, but my fucking face was covering like important shit, and I was like, I'm not uploading this. Okay. Oh, Pin King, are you still here? I'm so sorry, man. Feel free to remind me next time that. Okay. Here we go.
Customer states noise from front end. Took it for a test drive and it sounded awful. After inspection, didn't notice anything until I saw this. Notice anything until I saw this.
Well, what is this right here? And why is it moving? Why does it look like a maggot? And there's a big ass crack right here. I don't think that's supposed to have a crack. That's crazy. But y'all see that? One more time.
After inspection, didn't notice anything until I saw this.
Look, there it is. It's moving. That's That's a maggot. This car's a piece of shit. Clean your vehicle.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Bro, I saw that shit before I even took the hubcap off.
I can't believe I was driving this.
Cracked. I can't believe it held.
This customer came in for an oil change and the mechanic
Bro, if he hits a pothole going 50, it's over. It is over.
found the washer in quite an interesting spot.
I don't know. Okay,
BMW
so
just rolled in for new tires on.
I'm not a gearhead guy, so that first one was very noticeable. The washer, I don't know if that was right or wrong. I don't know what I'm looking at here. So just bear with me with these.
BMW just rolled in for new tires on both fronts. You can see that strut here is good. As you go to the front right. Let me get my lights. Not so good at all. Wonder how the hell this happened.
I mean,
If I try to move this, it's...
I can tell without his commentary, it doesn't look like the other one. That's the only way I'd be able to tell that there was something wrong with it. But like, again, I'm not a car guy, so like I don't know how that's supposed to look. You know?
Locked up because, you know why? It's contacting the strut. No wonder why the old tire blew up.
This customer wanted the mechanic to repair his homemade wiring mess and add even more to it. The same customer had brought in a similarly wired truck a year earlier, which later caught fire and burnt down, taking his house with it. The mechanic refused.
Customer states, my driver's side window won't roll down. Okay, seems to be true. That's new.
How did that happen? And at no point see, guys, this is one of those types of problems where I'm not going to the mechanic. Oh, I gotta push up instead of down for my window. The controls are inverted. Easy fix. I'll just get used to it. How did he not at one point just naturally like put it back up? Oh, it's backwards. I feel like I would have. My window won't go down, and I'm not gonna try any other method and not do anything else or not fiddle fuck around with these buttons like most people do with their cars. I'm just like one brain dead idiot, just hitting down, nothing's happening. God, dude. People just don't know how to troubleshoot. I'm not going to the mechanic for that. That's going unfixed. I don't even really feel like it's a problem.
A bunch of U codes, communication codes, blah, blah, blah. Start, stop doesn't work. They're like, oh, the dealer just put that battery in. It's good. Yeah, batteries aren't supposed to be swollen. You can't see it now, but it's not supposed to leak acid. And yeah, it's not supposed to be that hot.
Oh, wow. That's some fancy schmancy stuff. I've never seen. I didn't know that was a thing.
I don't think the wheel weights are going to fix this one.
That's not good. I know that much. That's not good either. You need a new tire.
Customer states, my vehicle won't start. Well, I think I found out why.
Oh, yeah.
There's a nice little tear in that hose. Easy fix, though.
Customers said
That's not the customer being stupid, though. So
their friend
some of these are, some of these aren't.
did their brake pads 3 days ago, and now they don't have brakes.
Wait.
Easy fix, though.
Customers said their friend did their brake pads 3 days ago, and
Your friend? If your friend isn't a licensed mechanic, I wouldn't trust that person. This is the equivalent of getting a tattoo in some guy's basement. He is not a licensed artist at all whatsoever. He's just got a little bit of know-how, and maybe his dad was a gearhead. Yeah, fuck that. You're not working on my car.
now they don't have brakes.
You're an idiot.
There's wasp nests in the cab.
And you haven't...
I feel like one of them might still be active or something.
This is the biggest level of fuck it that I've ever seen. This is the definition of fuck it, man. What?
And I'm gonna get stung, and I'm gonna drive off.
Sorry, sir, I'm not working on your car. But I paid you. Here's your money back because I'm not. Unsafe work conditions.
Road and crash, and hopefully not, because my knees are already in the dash with this thing all the way back.
It's odd.
Dude, at that point, you should just get a new car. I understand if you have some feelings towards it. Maybe you've had it since, like, I don't know, 1777. That's what it seems like. I'm just kidding, but maybe it might be time for an upgrade. It doesn't have to be anything new. People think that when they hear the word upgrade, it means new car. No, just get a slightly better version of that one.
Place their valve cover gasket, but they didn't do their coil gaskets at the same time.
Who would have known that there's rules to this shit?
Customer wants this all replaced by Monday.
He's saying that like that's not gonna fucking happen. I don't know. Probably not. Seems like a lot of work.
Still thinks it's a good vehicle.
Y'all should just start telling customers, like, hey, listen, again, this might be Old Faithful, and this may have gotten you through your college days and your new internship and shit, but I'm here to tell you, you got like 20,000 more miles on this thing. I promise you. Have y'all tried telling people that? Or do y'all just fix their shit, say fuck it, and whatever happens? You know? I would at least tell them, like, listen, you don't have much more time. I would say your goodbyes if I were you.
Mechanic got a ride in his father's truck and could tell something fell off, only
Jeff, take it easy, man. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow.
to find one of the tires like this afterward.
I'm sorry. I need to hear the build up for this. This is gonna be ridiculous. What's the excuse?
Mechanic got a ride in his father's truck and could tell something fell off, only to find one of the tires like this afterwards.
2016 Lincoln Navigator.
This is another example of fuck it. Bro.
Only to find one of the tires like this afterwards.
2016 Lincoln Navigator. Customer states, my brakes are squeaking. Okay, yeah, I can see it. You got like 1 millimeter here. It's on the warning tabs. All right, cool. And then he's like, oh, check your transmission, because when I put it in reverse, it makes a horrible noise and doesn't want to go. My brother in Christ, the backing plate is about to come out of the damn bracket. Like, I don't even know what to say.
This customer had just come from...
If you're a mechanic and I ever take my car to you, bro, just go ahead and assume that I'm stupid. I don't know anything. It's not working as normal. I need you to find out. I need you to do it. And I didn't touch it. I swear to fucking God, because I don't know anything. So you got your work cut out for you there. That's it. That's
a different shop that either incorrectly installed this new U-joint or put the wrong one in.
because believe you me, you definitely don't want me trying to fiddle fuck with shit before I bring it to you. That's why I don't. I feel like it makes your life easier. Because then you got to fix all my mistakes and then the original mistake, and that's like... But then again, you don't care because you're getting paid, so...
Customer states, my 2006 Silverado
It's a lady.
LBZ has got a very, very intermittent skip. Customer, you are right again. Right there he is.
This 2026 Santa Fe lasted...
The customer called it fairly... I know exactly what's wrong with it. The mechanic was like, you're right. Good.
14,000 miles before spitting a
all I can really give you is the symptoms.
Rod through the oil pan. It was caused by one of the bearing caps coming off.
Oh God.
Oil pan. It was caused by one of the bearing caps coming off.
wiggly it is. Wiggle, wiggle. Looks like that tooth's ready to come out.
This customer forgot to winterize their boat's motor, and this was the result.
Damn.
Ain't got no gas in it.
All that money for a boat, only to let that happen to it. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Customer states, now that you mention it, the rear end had been making a weird noise for a little bit, but I thought it was something else.
God damn.
If you bought a six...
Bro, I'm telling you, man, outside of the window that I really could live with, if anything out of the ordinary is happening with the vehicle, I'm taking it in, man. Like, it's just unsafe, and you'll save yourself money by bringing it in immediately.
6 gasser and you thought you were safe from the L87 lockup issues, you are wrong. There's a new one. Here's the old one. Look at this. Spun number 1. 2 is okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So yeah, the 6.6 gassers are just as bad.
Mechanics found this family of opossums hiding in this customer's engine bay and safely relocated them elsewhere.
What the fuck?
Homemade taste, made with care. Kraft Real Mayo.
How did they get found? That's like what I want. Maybe they were causing problems with the vehicle? I fucking suppose. Oh my god.
Z370. I'm just kidding. It's a 370Z because I'm not dumb. Customer states my clutch pedal's hard. Yeah, that'll do it every time. Jesus Christ.
Just turn the radio up and ignore those noises like this customer apparently did.
See? Ignoring shit. And then it gets worse.
Oh, yeah. Trying to get a load of... Oh, there's no back pad. It's gone. Oh, no, there's there.
Dude, I'm probably gonna eat this whole fucking bag of chips.
Where's the pill? There's some life left in those. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit here.
Oh, there it is. Here you go.
Nice.
You're definitely an idiot for driving around like that for that long.
Customer states, my 2010 SS Camaro keeps skipping on cylinder number 7. We've put every part you can put on it, and it still ain't fixed. Customer, you're right. You had a ground rubbing right there.
Who needs tow bags when you can just use the old reliable method like this customer did?
I feel like they were just trolling there. That can't be real.
George 4, locking lug nuts 1.
If you have one of these newer Yukons and you think that there's an oil pan leak, let me tell you, be diligent, because check out what this one was doing. You got oil all along down here, and it looks like an oil pan, but use an inspection camera and get up in here, it actually can roll that rear main seal, and it looks just like an oil pan leak.
This customer thought this noise was coming from their brakes.
That's not good.
Just had this vehicle in for a vibration. Nothing's been touched, but in fact we'll do this by hand. So, yeah. Just
There you go.
That's crazy. That didn't take much effort to take off.
Tightened up the locking wheel nut because that was loose. We're just going to remove the caps now, and literally.
So the fix for this was just simply to tighten everything up.
Yeah, another one loose. So that's 3 out of 5 so far. Now I'm going to check the other 2 while we're here. Well, we're going to check all of them because this car will not be leaving without all of them.
Would a mechanic tell me, like, if I gave him my issue, gave him my problem, and it seemed like it was this easy, instead of doing it, would a mechanic ever tell me, hey, listen, this is how you could do it yourself if you don't want to spend any money today? Maybe? Because obviously, I don't really know if I would have known that this was the problem, but now that I know that it is the problem, I really can do this myself. It's just that with everything else, you know, it's like you diagnose it and you're just like, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to take it to a mechanic. I don't want to fuck up anything else. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing, but if you told me that this is all I had to do and I'm back in the black, then, I mean, would you tell me? Would they tell me? Or would they keep it to themselves?
I'm being checked.
Decapitated, what's good? Do you have a torque wrench? No, but I feel like it would be cheaper to just go fucking buy one than it would be to pay this mechanic for his services. Because the shit's not cheap. And I feel like a torque wrench costs less than a mechanic. And all I need is just a little bit of strength, and then I'm fine. Right? I'm just wondering.
So here you go. Another loose one. That's 4 out of 5 loose. And for the last one. Hey, we got one that was nearly tight. It was just one wheel.
So that was the problem. Just loose. Depends on the mechanic and shop. That's kind of what I figured. Some might do you a solid. Others might be like, I'm not fucking telling you anything because I like getting paid. I mean, I don't know. I don't blame them, but I'm just wondering.
Side front had left 4 out of 5 wheel bolts loose. I mean, even the 5th one wasn't massively tight, but we checked all of them and the customer's now good to go.
I gotta be honest. It depends on my mood that day. If I was a mechanic, if I'm in a really good mood, brother, listen, this is how you do it yourself. If I'm not really in a good mood, probably I'm not even gonna say anything. I'll just do it. I'll just do it.
This engine unfortunately lost oil pressure and, as you'll soon see, destroyed some of the bearings. The customer ended up opting for a LS replacement.
Tell me why. We don't need training to be mechanics. Anyone can fix a car. Customer taking KA to help. Frauds, we'll call it.
There's also mechanics on YouTube. There's a teacher for everything on the internet. Could do that. Make sure they're reputable, read the comment section, make sure they know what the fuck they're talking about. And if you're mechanically inclined somewhat, or just not like clumsy as shit and you know how to follow directions, he's probably right. Anyone could be a mechanic, but for a lot of people it's just a matter of convenience.
Because the sidelight didn't work. Yep, don't work. So, took it out, and I just get it a little bit of a... Do I see it? Oh.
It wasn't screwed all the way in.
Bad connection. Original bulb that they fitted, told them that they couldn't do it, take it to a garage.
And you just, a lot of money for just like...
Oh, we're taking the piss, people. Come on.
He's like, can y'all bring me an actual problem that's worth my time? It's funny. That doesn't look very good. I don't know what I'm looking
all for
at.
Customizing your car, but adding a bunch of shrapnel to the passenger airbag is not the right way of doing it.
Yeah.
Today we've got a EA 888 Gen 3, and this one's got low oil pressure problem.
I was just about to say that. That's horrible. You don't put anything there. Also, I know that we all like to do it, and I know that I'm guilty of it, but when you're in a car, I know that it's hard, right? On a long drive, maybe a road trip or something, but don't just rest your feet up on the dashboard. when you're in the passenger seat or the driver's seat, because you know what's going to happen to your legs, especially if there's, man, the pressure that that airbag has whenever it deploys. Come on, dude. And it happens so fast because it has to be that fast. It has to be faster than the car crash itself to save you. You know what that's doing to your legs?
This is a good one because sometimes you can start going and replacing things and get a little bit lost in the bigger picture when you should maybe just check the basics. This thing has just had a service from one of them drive in, drive out jobby places. Not at liberty to say who, but obviously they were in such a rush when they were doing the oil change that they only replaced one O-ring and not the ones there. And you can see these ones.
How do mechanics get paid? Do they get paid by the hour, or do they get paid by how many cars they worked on that day? I'm just out of curiosity. We're on the topic, so.
Getting off because they're so hard. Was allowing it to push oil pressure past that and causing an intermittent low oil pressure line.
Thanks for watching another episode of Mechanical Nightmare. I hope you enjoyed.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did. I was kind of lost in some parts, but I mean, I don't really feel like I'm that stupid. Obviously, I can't just look at a car or even inspect it in depth and be able to tell you, like, some things stick out. Some things are very, very obvious, but like for those nuanced things that I don't even know if I'd be able to spot some shit like that, but okay. I gotta put the bag of chips down, man. Otherwise, I'm gonna fuck around and not have any left. And that's an even worse feeling. Jesus, this banana peel decayed so fast. Look at that. What my grandmother looked like before she passed. Alright. Let me take all this shit back to the kitchen because I hate leaving shit in here. We're not about to live in filth. I did. Bags down. I mean, dude. Fucking lucky. I could straight kill this and not even think twice about it. What are you doing? No. What happened?
I needed those chips.
No, you didn't.
But I accidentally.
Lying! You're lying! No, you're lying! Yes, you are! Hey, take this banana and throw it away! Naturally, guys, that's about how loud we are always. She's got no chill, neither do I. Terminated, thank you so much for the membership. I don't know if that's a resub or just a sub. First time. But thank you. I appreciate it. Oh no, I'm out? No, I had 2. There's no way. Bad. Yo, Ironhawk, I haven't seen you in a blue moon with an orange peel in it. All right. And let me just tell you how full of shit that girl is. Right? Let me just tell you how full of shit that little girl is. She came in here with her tablet. Right? Because she was going to come in here to chill to watch her tablet. I know that's what she was doing. I know her like the back of my hand. I know that's what she was coming in here for, was to lay right there on the bed and watch her tablet. And then she saw that I had chips. And then she was like, no, I was coming to get those chips. I was like, really? Were you now? You little liar. You were coming to my room to get the chips and not to the kitchen? You full of shit, girl. You are. And then she snatched the chips. I won't get those chips back, by the way. She took them. So, you know what? I feel fucking stupid for not having killed the bag. Thanks, Terminated. Drop the chips. Drop the chips. Now the chips are gone. Gone! Terminated. Never taking your advice again. Ironhawk, I'm good, man. I just lost a bag of Fritos to my 5-year-old niece. Aside from that, though, it's been a fairly good afternoon. Absurd. Unreal. No, wait. I fucked up. Y'all can't see. Y'all can. Pull up the Discord. Scary Movie 6 popcorn bucket is a bong. Theaters across America? Like, what do you mean? I'm gonna have to call my local theater because I don't leave my house willy-nilly like that. But if that's the case, well, goddamn it, it looks like I'm gonna go see Scary Movie 6 in theaters. Is this nationwide for theaters? And can I actually smoke out of this bong? Or is it just shaped like a bong? But it still has all the... I don't know, man. And that's a glass, too. That's not cheap to make. Dude, Renee, that shit's so annoying. That shit's so fucking irritating. Hell, Katai has told me that she's dealt with the same shit, and so have I. Dude, sometimes my niece, you get like this is like the microphone is my face. I'm sleeping or taking a nap, have my eyes closed, and she'll get real close. She won't say anything. Just like staring at me, just looking at me, just like really, 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 really close. And then I open my eyes and I see this little fucking creature, bug-eyed as fuck, just looking at me. And I'm just like, well, first I get afraid, because just naturally. And then I get irritated and angry. And then she starts laughing, and it's like the cutest shit. And then I'm just like, oh, it's fine. But yeah, for like 0.1, like a nanosecond, I almost, because it's just like, girl, back up. Go fuck around, activate my PTSD, and I don't even want that happening. No, I probably won't watch that in theaters. I'll probably, dude, I actually looked for that. I actually looked for that last night on all 4 of the streaming platforms that I have access to. I couldn't find it. So it's probably Ironhawk. It's been a minute, dude. Like a hot minute. And yeah, it's actually getting long to the point where I looked in the mirror today and I was like, oh my god, it is long. I might have to just like eventually make it to where it never goes below my collarbone, which that's where I am right now. Look at that shit. I think it's been a minute. In all fairness, though, my hair grows really, really fast, especially on my head and my face. So I like 2 years, man, probably 2-3 years. I can't even remember at this point when I started growing this shit out. God damn it, Terminated. Well, we doing it. Oh, no, wait. Terminated, we'll do it. Pin King. This has got to be recent, right? What was it called? It was by Matt Best. That's got to be it. Folded flag. Aw, dude, is this going to be sad? No, Ironhawk, actually. I made a change in my life. Well, some wouldn't consider it a change. I consider it a massive change because it's only going to help what I'm trying to accomplish. I quit Grizzly Wintergreen for I think 2 years ago. I think it's been, dude, it's been a while now actually since I quit tobacco. And then I do these because eventually I will get tired of these. And I feel like this is easier to quit than Grizzly or Copenhagen. And on top of that, this is less stressful on my gums, which now that I'm getting older, bro, like I had to adjust really. So I dropped the standard tobacco, no Grizzly, no Copenhagen. I haven't done any of that in like, I want to say almost 2 years. Really? So this is the only thing I Zin, man, these little pouches. So Ironhawk, no, but you can join us on Discord. Can someone be a lamb and put the link to the Discord in the chat? That'd be phenomenal. And I hope that I enabled links in the chat. If anything, Katai could do it because Katai is admin. You can send me anything on Discord. I don't have Instagram anymore. Yep, this is gonna be sad as shit. It's been a minute since Doesn't Zen make you feel bleh? A little bit. It depends. So like there's been a few times. There's two different kinds of, this is pure nicotine, man. There's two different kinds. You see how there's a number 6 right there? I'll hold it close. That number 6 right there. What comes is 6 milligram and 3 milligram. 3 milligrams were fine for a time, and I was like, I think I can do the 6s, man. This isn't too bad. And it did make me feel a certain kind of way, but it kind of made me feel the same way that I felt whenever I first started chewing tobacco, right? And then I went to the 6s. And I thought to myself, I was like, I really don't like putting in 1. I'm just going to start putting in 2 because it's just better. It just feels too small in there. And I'm used to putting in like huge ass amounts of Grizzly. So I put in 2 to compensate for the lack of amount that's in there. I'm not going to put fucking 4. So the first time I did that, the room started spinning. I got dizzy. I started sweating profusely. And then I stood up really fast. I was playing Warframe with some buddies, and I was in Discord, and we were in the middle of something, and I was like, guys, I gotta go. I took off my headset. I didn't log off the game. I didn't turn anything off. I sprinted to the bathroom and puked. And then I spent the next 10 minutes dry heaving. And then I brushed my teeth. And then I came back, sat back down. They were still in the mission. I was like, this is fantastic. Cool. I'm good. They were like, what happened, dude? I was like, I had to go puke. Sorry. They were like, dude, are you okay? Like, you just puke randomly? I was like, no, dude, fucking the nicotine got to me. These fucking Zins, I wasn't really ready for the powerful nature of the 6s. And one of the guys actually does Zins, and he's like, you dumbass. I was like, yeah, I know now. So, yeah, and so, yeah. Here we go. By the way, when I was in the service and I was filling out my will, I opted to not have this type of funeral. This time, I opted for no military honors in my in my will before I deployed. And funny thing, I still feel that way. I don't want military honors whenever I pass. I don't want people in uniform. I don't want to be at a military cemetery. I don't. And to be honest, I can't really tell you what I want post death, but I know it's not this. I made that decision very early, and I kind of stuck with it. So.
Ran them roads like we own the land. Two dumb kids with the master plan. Laughing at danger. Never thought about fate at all.
Yeah, that reminds me of...
But it put our lives on different lines. Swear I seen it in your eyes when we joked about never coming home. Now your boots fall quiet in the places I walk alone.
I'm guessing best friends?
So I sit right here in our old spot. I swear I feel you here, but I know you're not. I drink to the night, holding heavy and high, wishing you're somewhere.
Probably best friends, and they became battle buddies, probably.
Your name still hangs in my heart like a dog tag. And the truth hits hard in that folded flag. Your jacket still hanging on the back of that chair. Smells like smoke in the life we share. You left with a promise you'd be.
It kind of reminds me of just a little bit. It kind of reminds me of being. I didn't have just one best friend growing up. I had two, and I kind of felt bad for the youngest one, which y'all know today to be Jared. Y'all have never like actually met him or seen him on camera, but he's my best friend from childhood. Grew up with another person. There's like a tripod, right? And when me and him were still in high school, our oldest friend joined the service. So the tripod was no longer there, right? He didn't die or anything, but he was gone. And then when I graduated high school, because I was in the middle, the youngest, he was still in high school. When I graduated, I went into the service and deployed. So like, he low-key lost two best friends sophomore and junior year of high school, and that dude had to make brand new friends. He just did. He didn't have us anymore. We were gone. That was it. And at times I kind of felt bad for him, because like I remember coming back. The oldest one was I don't know where he was, but he wasn't there. And I remember coming back and like, he adapted, bro. Like he made new friends. He started hanging out with. He was more outgoing. It just seemed like he had a brand new life. Whenever I came home for the first time, a completely different life that I had left behind, and it was just like, it was kind of eye-opening to me. But we picked right back up where we left off, and it's funny that all those friends that he made while me and my other buddy were gone, they're no longer around. Those were just friends that he basically used as our replacement until we were no longer in this line of work, because dude, me and the other fellow, we were gone a lot. So kind of felt bad for him just at times.
Back someday, God, why do you take the good ones away? It's funny how the brave never call it brave. They say I'll be fine, I'm going anywhere.
And had anything happened to me and our other friend, that would have just been horrible for him, really.
And I swear some nights the wind cuts through like a piece of you. I feel it when I sit right here in our old spot. I swear I feel you here, but I know you're not. I drink to the night, holding heavy and high, wishing you're somewhere under the same old sky. Your name still hangs in my heart like a dog tag. The truth hits hard in that fall.
And dude, to be honest, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. Oh, it would be fun. It would be a grand old time, and it sounds appealing, doesn't it? Go to combat with your childhood friend, or hell, there was 2 twin brothers in my basic training that joined the service together. It sounds appealing, doesn't it? Hindsight? Fuck no. Where I'm at now, what I know now, after what I've experienced, fuck no. I would not want to go to combat with my best friend or my brother. Because, no, I can't lose you. There's no way. There's no way. I can lose a battle buddy. I can lose Toth. I can lose Johnson. Right? I can lose Manspile. I can lose Blanco. That's fine. I can't lose you. So one of us is gonna join and one of us is gonna stay here. Let's flip a fucking coin, because yeah.
Maybe you're past that ridge where the good ones go. Through the open gaze down.
When you're too afraid of the might of America, that's what you do. That's the only way to deal with us.
Golden road. I hope you're looking down with a smile as I sit right here in narrow spots where I feel you here, but I know you're not. I drink to the
Which means they were watching your ass and that was a command detonation. Because y'all would have seen or inspected for a tripwire of some kind.
holding heavy and high, wishing you're somewhere under the same old sky. Your name stays hanging on my heart like a dog tag, and your memory lives in that folded flag.
That was good. But don't get used to us doing music on YouTube. This is like a one-off. We usually do these on Twitch. But I appreciate the request and I appreciate the 5. These always hit close to home. I've been part of a 21 gun salute and I didn't like the feeling. Mainly because every single fucking gunshot was, that could be you. That could be you. That could be you. And then that turned into, that will be you. That will be you. Then it's just like, okay. All right. Let's get me the fuck out of this. And that was like one of the worst. It was like one of the worst things that I ever had to endure in the service, man. Is, I've told some of y'all before, but I got put on funeral detail one time, which, but to be honest, it felt like a punishment. It really did, because I was just like, I don't want to. I went to funerals before. I went to like the biggest, well, not the, I think it's the biggest, most notable military cemetery in all of Italy. Where I went there in front of a whole bunch of generals and sergeant majors and high-ranking people. I think there were some people from the government there, both Italian government and American government, and there was like this whole thing, and I was in dress uniform too, and it was hot as fuck. But no, I had to do funeral detail, and it was like, that's like a whole nother world of DNC, man. Really. Like, you see soldiers, you know, left, right face, right face, about face, half right face. You hear that one a lot. Man, the ceremonial movements for funeral detail? Jesus. It's like going from basic math to fucking trigonometry with nothing in between as a reference. It is so complicated. So we did a lot of practice for funeral detail and these brand new facing movements that I had never done before, a brand new way of marching that I had never done before. And I was like, God, dude, like, holy, no wonder it's called basic training, because I didn't learn this. So did that. And then Commander was like, all right, there's a funeral, but Falcon, you and Manspile and Guest, y'all aren't going. I didn't even ask why. I was like, thank God. The reason is because we had to go to the range, I think. But we got pulled off at the very last moment, and I did not have to attend this funeral. And I was so happy. I was like, RIP to the fallen and everything, but I'm so glad I don't have to. I don't want to have to be in that environment if I'm not the one that lost something. You know? Maybe that's selfish, but... Okay. Alright. Yeah, Captain Z, we'll probably end up knocking that out tomorrow, man. We're about to watch another movie. And you know what? Before this even starts, I was about to go take another fucking smoke break. And this is gonna be from what, like... Jesus. This is from like the 1700s? These dudes are looking a little incesty. You know the look from all those paintings hundreds of years ago.
Want to save money by saving energy with people?
Yeah, I believe it has Woody Harrelson. I believe that's another job I would strenuously object to. Congratulations, soldier. You're going to be informing families of their fallen soldier. No. I don't. You know what? Put me on KP duty. Put me on KP duty. Now. And if you don't, I'm just gonna go out and violate UCMJ, and you're just gonna have to take me off. Soldier, you're gonna do it, okay? Good. You know what? Why don't you do it? Huh?
Quote, without him, we...
Why does it have to be me? You know, matter of fact, you sent him there. You go apologize. You have that angry wife slap you across the face. Why me? No. Strenuously object. Yeah, just to hear someone screaming and at me, blaming me, I didn't send him there, ma'am. Sorry for your loss, but can you please stop punching me in the face? I'd appreciate it. Like, brother, no. Who would even sign up for that? But hey, there's people that do it. And you know what? Thank you the absolute most for your fucking service, because I never had to do it. Appreciate it. All right, I'll be right back. You're terminated. I was thinking. The next Fat Electrician video we watch. Can it be from the Fat Files, dude? I really want to watch that video that he made about Sriracha. That's like right up my alley, man. So can we do that one next? Can you put that one? This guy was so big, bigger than George Washington. Well, by today's standards, George Washington actually wasn't all that big. 6'2", right? 6'2", 220 was good old George, I think, which for those times is massive. But I mean, dude, for the behemoths now, Jesus Christ. I don't know how motherfuckers are so big now. Okay. All right. Here we go. America's Hercules. Peter the Giant Francisco.
Quote, without him, we would have lost two crucial battles, perhaps the war, and with it, our freedom. George Washington. And the fact that you probably have no idea who I'm talking about is a...
I don't have any idea who you're talking about, but the fact that that was said by one of the, well, by the GOAT himself, then yeah, I'm willing to believe that you are the utmost of badass.
A tragedy that we're going to fix right now.
Yeah, let's fix it.
Today we're talking about Peter Francisco, aka the Virginia Giant, also known as the Virginian Hercules or the Giant of the American Revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, I've wanted to make this video for years and I've worked on and off on it for years, but the problem is everything about this man online reads like an urban legend or a myth, and I don't make videos on urban legends, I make videos on things that actually happen.
Yeah,
the urban
reality.
legend is essentially this: a 5-year-old boy washes up on the shore in Virginia, he doesn't speak English, he speaks Portuguese, he winds up becoming a blacksmith's apprentice where he grows to a staggering size of 6'6", 280 pounds.
Okay, yeah, even by those standards, even by today's standards, that's big as fuck. Damn, good lord.
Now, obviously, that's a large man by today's standards, but it's not like freakishly insanely big by today's standards. But you gotta remember, this is the mid-1700s. The average man is...
No, bro. 6'6" is tall to me. I know that we've all become accustomed. 6'6" is big. It's still big as fuck to me today. I'm 5'11", so...
It's only 5'5". George Washington in this era is renowned as being a giant man. He's only 6'2", 100.
I knew it, 6'2".
190 pounds. This guy...
190 pounds, so like, George Washington, he was just tall and athletic. This guy is tall and built like Ray Lewis.
Is 4 inches larger and 100 pounds heavier. And he has what can only be described as super...
John, I hate you. God damn it.
Human strength, because despite his massive size, which would imply that he's very strong, he was somehow able to lift an 1,100-pound cannon barrel onto his shoulder and carry it off the battlefield so it didn't fall into the hands of the British at the Battle of Camden. Then, according to legend, after hearing about this and seeing him on the battlefield on other occasions, George Washington himself commissioned the creation of somewhere between a 5-foot and 6-foot long broadsword for Peter Francisco that was so large and so heavy the average man of that time couldn't even unsheath it.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Francisco then proceeded to carry that sword into battle at Guilford's courthouse and cut 11 British soldiers in half. And somewhere along the way, he once also got into a cut 11 British soldiers in half.
What was the 11th soldier doing? You just watched all your homies get turned into fucking sushi rolls and you just stick around thinking you got a chance? You didn't bother running? I can't believe y'all died. That's crazy. Not even one fucking soul thought about self-preservation to, you know, tell the tale. Or quite possibly prepare a counteroffensive.
And somewhere along the way, he once also got into a bar fight by himself against 11 British dragoons, beat all of them, and then stole their horses. And that is the
golly, the ego runs wild with some of you motherfuckers.
Legend of Peter Francisco, but I now believe that I have the full story, and to be completely intellectually honest with you, I cannot prove beyond the shadow of a doubt with hard evidence and primary sources that this is exactly how everything went down. but this is the best guess, and we're going to get to it right after word from our...
I can live with some educated guesses. It's completely fine. All right, hold on. Oh no. Excuse me.
About him if...
The power to save lives is within you. Donate plasma and get paid for your time.
For over 30 years, I've been saying we come to you.
All I'm saying is that, dude, 6'6", 280 carrying a sword like that, you ain't catching me on foot, brother. No way you kill me with a sword. I refuse to believe it. Or am I just being too cocky here? I'm sorry, like, if I see 10 motherfuckers get gutted, I'm gone, and you're not catching me. How fast can this man quite possibly be? Then again, motherfuckers in the NFL are the same fucking size and are very quick. So, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Our story begins in 1765 at the docks of City Point, Virginia. One of the men working the docks this day is a guy by the name of James Durrell. There's a big ship anchored out there, and then he sees that the whaling boat is getting rowed closer and closer to the dock, so he goes out to the dock to meet these people to see what they want. As they get closer and closer, he can start to see, okay, there's some grown men, and then what appears to be a child on board. They get closer and closer. Eventually, they pull up to the dock, don't tie off or anything, just hand him a 5-year-old boy and then row away. So James is like, what the fuck? And those guys just keep rowing. So he looks down at this 5-year-old kid. The kid is in very, very nice clothes. He's got silver buckles on his shoes that are the letters P and H. Like,
either those were fucking disciples that were sent down to deliver this heavenly man for the purposes of slaying out, or they found this motherfucker. They didn't know what to do. They were like, dude, we got to drop him off somewhere. I mean, we may be pirates, but we're not fucking monsters here. And then that was that. I don't know. Whichever one you want to go with.
It's very apparent that whatever family this kid comes from, that family has money. So he looks at this 5-year-old little rich kid and is like, what is...
Oh, yeah. That could have been a ransom. I didn't even think about that.
What is going on? Who are you? And the kid just like looks at him blankly.
I don't know.
And then he comes to realize, okay, this kid... he doesn't speak English. So he resorts to the timeless classic. My name is James. James, what's your name? And the kid looks at him and says, Pedro Francisco. All right, Pedro Francisco. The P and H boot buckles are starting to make a little bit more sense now. We don't call people Pedro here. This is America. Your name's Peter now.
Hello, Peter.
From here, not really knowing what to do. Maybe somebody's coming to pick this kid up later, so he takes him up to the wharf.
The amount of Pedros in America now is staggering.
Gets the kid fed. The whole day passes. Nobody comes to get this.
I would have preferred calling him Pedro, but that's just the Hispanic in me.
Kid. So they get him a bed. He stays the night, and he ends up living there for weeks, and nobody's coming to...
One of my neighbors growing up was a Vietnam veteran named Pedro. He was kind of crazy and kind of full of PTSD and kind of a drug addict. But I hung out with him all the time. My mom never said anything, so.
Get this kid. Nobody knows who he is.
I used to go over to his house when I was little and cut the grass, and he'd invite me in, give me some lemonade, and then he would just like talk to me about stuff. And then he'd give me some money, and then I'd fuck off.
Here they start theorizing. They figure out, this kid speaks Portuguese. Maybe he was kidnapped by those guys, and then they decided to back out and dropped him off. Or maybe they were trying to hold him for ransom, and they weren't going to pay the ransom and didn't know what to do with the kid. Or maybe he was taken on as a captain's apprentice, and the captain took the money to take him on as an apprentice, but didn't actually want to train him, so he just dropped him off at a dock somewhere. We have no idea. And nobody would know for sure who this kid was or where he came from until like the 1970s. In 1971, a doctor would go to...
Oh, now that I'm well established, y'all want to come back around like y'all know someone, huh?
Sarah Island in the Azores island chain off of Portugal, and there he would set about figuring out who Peter or Pedro...
Yo, dude. That doesn't seem like a bad place to... Well... Just imagine the view. I wouldn't mind it.
Pedro Francisco actually was. And he found that there was a Pedro Francisco born on the island in 1760 to a fairly wealthy family, and that wealthy family had a bunch of documentation on the island. They had birth certificates, death certificates for the mother, the father, the siblings, but for Pedro Francisco, there was only a birth certificate, no death certificate, no other documentation proving that he lived on that island other than that, which strongly suggests that he was kidnapped. But nobody's gonna figure that out for 200 years, and there's this kid living inside.
And obviously, I don't blame the parents for, you know, not having a death certificate. They don't want to believe that their son is dead, gone forever, you know?
The wharf, and eventually the local authorities come by and they're like, look, this kid can't live here forever. We're gonna have to take him and put him into an orphanage. And the workers at the wharf, they've come to like this kid. He's starting to learn English. He's a nice kid. He can stay here with us. You don't have to ship him off to an orphanage.
Literally insert the clip from Avengers where Thor is looking at Captain Marvel. He's like, I like this one. And then he just, well, he can stay. I didn't really like that she stayed.
And the local authorities are like, absolutely not. We're not going to let a bunch of dock workers raise a kid. No. So the work.
Some would argue that that's quite possibly the best type of man to raise a kid in those days, I suppose. Some tough, gritty dudes. Hey, he won't grow up to be a bitch, that's for sure.
Workers want to make sure he goes to a good home, call up somebody they know, this wealthy guy in town, a guy by the name of Judge Anthony Winston, who lives.
But hey, it's a child. Everyone's trying to be responsible here. I understand.
On this massive plantation right outside of town. He comes by, visits the kid, he likes the kid, he agrees that he'll take the kid in. The judge tells the local authorities, I'm gonna handle it. It's 1764. Judge says he's gonna take care of it. Okay, the matter is settled. He goes to
modern times, bro. This right here is akin to adoption, and this takes fucking ages. I can't really tell you exactly how long because I've never adopted a child, but
live in Hunting Tower with Judge Anthony Winston. From here, we don't know a ton about his childhood. We know that he was never an indentured servant, but we also know that he was never formally adopted. The best guess is that the judge loved him, thought of him as a son, raised him that way, but the judge's wife didn't really care for him and she wouldn't allow him to formally adopt him. So basically, Peter grows up on this plantation getting treated like Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
And who fucking made you queen? Huh? I don't know, Judge.
He's the bastard child that's still, you know, the son of the...
That says a lot about your lady. That's all I'm saying. And you know what?
The king. He pretty much immediately starts growing like a weed. Allegedly, he's the size of a full-grown man by the time he's like 8 years old. And obviously, he outgrows the shoes that he showed up at the dock with. And remember, those shoes had those very ornate P and H shoe buckles on them. And the judge didn't want those to get, you know, thrown out or him to lose them because it's the only thing he has that he showed up to America with. So the judge...
It's the only thing that's his.
Judge, as a gift to him, has them recrafted from shoe buckles into knee buckles that would go on his pants that he would wear for the rest of his life. We also know that obviously this was the 1700s. He's clearly going to end up working on this plantation, and the thing that he gravitated toward at a young age was blacksmithing, and then he would actually go out and shoe the horses. By the time he was 10, he was almost 6 feet tall, and it was said that when a horse didn't want to get shoed, he could physically hold the horse's leg and shoe it at the same time while it was resisting. We also know that he did...
While it's resisting? So you mean to tell me that the horse is trying to kick away? And you're just like, whoa, there. Calm down. A little too early for that. Chill. There you go. What? That's fucking madness. That's strength.
Didn't really get any formal education because he wasn't able to read or write till much later in life. However, he was exceptionally intelligent because he was always hanging out with his new dad, Judge Winston, and all of his buddies. And one of those buddies that came to visit frequently was a lawyer by the name of Patrick Henry that would go on to become Peter Francisco's mentor. If you don't know, Patrick Henry is one of the biggest voices early on in the American Revolution, and Peter Francisco would follow him around from town to town while he delivered speeches, basically stoking the flames of what would become the American Revolution.
And the position that would eventually become the bodyguard. Really, because think about it. This is just going around talking, giving speeches, and you got this big motherfucker standing right next to him. Yeah, you could say anything. No one's fucking with you at all.
comes to a head on March 30th, 1775, when Peter Francisco is 15 years old at St. John's Episcopal Church in Richmond, Virginia, when Patrick Henry delivers one of the most famous lines in American history, "Give me liberty or give me death." And Peter Francisco is sitting right there when it happens. And this is a tipping point for Peter Francisco. I mean, he's been following around Patrick Henry for years at this point, listening to these speeches. He's already got this huge amount of patriotism and understanding for his age. And then he hears those words, "Give me liberty or give me death." As soon as he gets back home to Judge Winston, he goes to him and asks his permission to join the United States military. And Judge
Yo, fucking had a fire lit right up underneath his ass with that quote right there. He's like, I'm in.
Winston has, you know, the proud dad moment of, I'm really proud I helped raise a man that wants to do this, but also, you're 15 years old. I understand that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot that he's 50.
Right now, you're 6'5", 250 pounds, and I'm looking up at you while I say this, but you're not old enough. We need to give it a little bit more time. And Peter actually ends up respecting his father's wishes, and he waits until he has permission, which would come about a year later.
Wow. But that's... He's a good kid, because, you know, I knew a lot of soldiers. Well, fuck you, Dad. I'm joining anyways. Yeah, that's a good kid.
Later on October 10th, 1776, when he would enlist in the 10th Virginia.
Because once you're motivated, bro, you're motivated, and there's nothing that your parents can say to you once you're like locked in like that. But nah, good restraint, good resiliency.
Regiment.
He understood, and at the whopping age of 15 too, that shows a lot of maturity as well.
Okay, people, I'm only gonna say this once. Sandu.
Give me your liberty or give me a piece of pie. Speaking of that, Ashley, how did the tacos turn out? She probably ain't even here. Fuck. You know what? I got a fix for you. You thought. I was just gonna wait it out.
Wants to do this, but also, you're 15 years old. I understand that right now you're 6'5", 250 pounds, and I'm looking up at you while I say this, but you're not old enough. We need to give it a little bit more time. And Peter actually ends up respecting his father's wishes, and he waits until he has permission, which would come about a year later on October 10th, 1776, when he would enlist in the 10th Virginia Regiment. So the 10th Virginia Regiment, a lot like many other American military units at this point in time, early on in the Revolutionary War, it's just a ragtag group of whoever. You've got everything from 16, 17-year-old kids that are showing up, don't even know how to use a musket, and you've got crazy mountain men coming from the wild frontier that have been fighting Native Americans, wearing buckskins, carrying mountain rifles and tomahawks.
And then you got
so
Peter.
Obviously, Peter kind of sticks out. He's like 15, 16 years old. He's a foot taller than everybody else. He's 100 pounds bigger, and he can't really shoot a musket to save his life. Because of that, he gets singled out. A lot of the guys are giving him a hard time, and then one day that all changes when this
combative starts.
Wild frontiersman wearing a buckskin with the rifle and the tomahawk, just like I said, his name's John Allen, starts giving Peter Francisco shit about how bad he is at shooting this musket, and he's ripping into him, and he's like, you can't hit a cow at 60 yards, and I can hit a squirrel at 200 yards. In fact, I could probably hit a target better with my tomahawk than you can with your musket. Go ahead, Peter, why don't you go ahead, point to something, I'll hit it with my tomahawk, I'll show you. So Peter, being the smart kid, he sets him up. He looks down, and he goes, okay, you see that pine tree? Okay, look like 10, 15 feet up. You see that patch right there where the branches split? Hit that. John Allen jumps up, throws his tomahawk, and splits this thing right down the middle. John Allen whips around as arrogant as ever, like, see, told you I could do that shit. And Peter Francisco just says in front of all the other boys, yeah, that was pretty impressive. How are you gonna get it down?
Gotcha, bitch.
Everybody starts laughing their ass off like the kid just set you up, you just lost your tomahawk. Absolutely hilarious. John Allen gets fucking pissed. Peter Francisco, big sweetheart, big teddy bear, actually starts to feel bad for the guy, so he walks over to the tree, looks over at John Allen, he squats down and puts his hand like this and says, John, come here, sit on my hand. And John Allen's like, I'm not doing that. I'm a 170-pound man. I'm not gonna let you pick me up into this tree so I can get my tomahawk down. And Peter Francisco, using his gigantic booming voice, just goes, sit! Peter then proceeds to single-handedly lift a grown-ass man by his ass into the tree so he can receive his tomahawk and sets him back down. Which
God, that's the most emasculating thing I've heard in a hot fucking minute. And that man didn't have a choice. if he wanted his tomahawk back. See, that's the problem. That's the problem with that. Tomahawks and bows and arrows. Once you're out of bows, bruh, that's it. There's only so much a quiver can hold. And then you just need to know how to fight. Which, are you going to beat Peter in hand-to-hand? I don't think so. So, he made you look foolish, and then he just sunned the shit out of you. Come on, I got you. The fuck?
Coincidentally, was the last time anybody gave Peter shit. Also,
Yeah.
him and John Allen became really good friends. Now, from here, they get sent off to their first battle.
I'll just look like a bitch fucking with Peter. Yeah, we're just gonna be friends.
The Battle of Brandywine. Basically, what's going on at the war at this point in time is the British General Howe has decided he's going to take a massive British force, march south from New York to Philadelphia, the home of the revolution, and just crush the revolution right now, right out of the gate. George Washington needs to get there, get past Philadelphia, intercept him to save it so the revolution can live on. So, obviously, in order to do that, he's going to have to march all of his men either past or through Philadelphia, and he opts to go through Philadelphia and stage a parade because you got to remember, there's still people that are loyal to the crown, there's people that are loyal to the revolution, and he thinks showing people, here's how many young men are willing to go off and fight for this, you should believe in them, and maybe we can actually win this war. So on August
Hearts and minds.
24th, 1777, 10,000 American patriots marched through Philadelphia on their way to Brandywine Creek to stop the British, Peter Francisco included.
10,000 patriots marched, huh? Ugh. That reminds me of something.
Obviously, Peter sticks out marching through this parade, being like 18 inches taller than everybody else. Fast forward a couple of weeks, Peter's going to see his first taste of battle on September 11th, 1777 at the Battle of Brandywine. Washington's army is set up, blocking all the easy crossing points along the Brandywine River. Washington's plan here is to basically force all the British people under General Howe's command to have to march through these narrow channels to cross the river, and his army is going to light them up in this fatal funnel and win the battle. It's a solid plan. What Washington doesn't know is that a bunch of Tories, people that are still loyal to the British, have went around and then informed the British of the crossing points that aren't guarded or are very lightly guarded, and the British have exploited that to move a massive force into Washington's flank, and he doesn't know they're there. So when the battle kicks off, the Americans get flanked from where they're not expecting it by a massive force, and the American line starts to disintegrate. Very quickly, this situation goes from we're here to stop the British to we need to get the fuck out of here, otherwise we're all going to get captured and or killed, and the American Revolution is over before it's even really begun. So George Washington and Marquis de Lafayette jump into action. They start organizing the retreat, and Nathaniel Greene, aka the Fighting Quaker, takes the men under his command, the men from Virginia, including Peter Francisco, and forms a new line to cover their retreat. So Peter Francisco and his guys get the order. They run out of this wood line into this open plowed field. They're going to set up a new line and cover the retreat of Washington and Marquis de Lafayette's men, and Peter elects to bring some of the wood line with him. According to the story, he picks up what is described as a medium-sized tree and carries it into the plowed field with him and lays it long ways so him and a bunch of other guys can use it for cover. So Peter and his buddies are posted up behind this tree, waiting for the order to fire. They get the order. They launch several volleys into the British line as they're approaching, and then they get the order to prepare for the bayonets. They're about to bayonet charge the British. Peter Francisco, oh shit moment, looks over to his right. There's his buddy John Allen. He can't mount a bayonet to his mountain rifle, so he pulls out his tomahawk. Peter Francisco looks to his left. There's his other buddy, Adams. They all stand up and get ready to hop over this tree and make the charge, and Adams takes a round directly to the chest and falls over dead. Peter, 17-year-old, kind-hearted, gentle giant, seeing his friend killed a foot to his left, loses his shit, hops the tree, and charges the British before the order's even given, and all the rest of the 10th Virginia follows. And Peter isn't even effectively using his bayonet, you know, like a spear. He's literally out there swinging a 6-foot-tall rifle and bayonet like it is a baseball bat, knocking British in half, and it's described as cutting men down as if it were a scythe.
He ran his sword through that man.
I love that because I played baseball for like the first 18 years of my life, so I'm just picturing like just a perfect fucking Bryce Harper type swing, just connecting with the faces and or rib cage of these fuckers. Ugh.
And as though he were nothing.
Someone dies every time he swings his sword.
This goes on for a little bit, and then eventually the British just kind of evaporate. The rest of the unit that they were engaging falls back to the other end of this field, and the men under Nathaniel...
And in that moment, I just love that he acknowledges that can't shoot, and fuck that. I could just do more damage by just goddamn two-handing this bitch. Yeah.
Green's command continue engaging the British in this shootout where they hold off long enough for the rest of the army to retreat, and it finally ends at nightfall. The American army retreats back to Chester, which is on the Delaware River. The battle did not go how they wanted, but the revolution survived to fight another day. Cutting back to Peter Francisco, after the British that he's engaging in hand-to-hand combat are all either dead or retreated, John Allen, who...
And man, I should have said that earlier. And I was going to, but I didn't want to pause the video. I was just like, man, you should straight up fucking hustle these guys. Start talking mad shit. Be like, we bet you won't throw hands. We bet you won't put down those guns and actually swap it out. We bet. Keep antagonizing, You know what? They want a fist fight, fellas? Let's do it. And then you send in Peter, it's over. It's fucking over. Like, that battle ends in 35 seconds.
Also survived, points out like, hey, Peter, you're bleeding from your leg. He looks down, he's got blood all over his leg. He's like, huh. He then proceeds to go to the field hospital. It is there that he finds out that I
don't think that's his blood.
He's been shot in the leg by a musket, and he is, by sheer coincidence or fate, sat down in an aid tent right next to another man who was famously shot in the leg at the Battle of Brandywine, Marquis de Lafayette. Marquis de Lafayette immediately recognizes him as like, oh, you must be the only giant fucking dude moving trees on the battlefield. That was impressive as shit. He then instructs the doctor that is helping him, and only him, to help Peter Francisco as well. Which raises a question for some of you, why does this Marquis de Lafayette guy have his own personal doctor? Well, because he's kind of fucking important. You see, Marquis de Lafayette isn't his name, it's actually his title. His real name is Gilbert Montier, and he is French nobility.
I'm being beaten up by a guy called Rupert.
Which is weird because King Louis of France made it illegal for French nobility or French officers to go help in the American Revolution. And Gilbert...
So that just means that this guy is about it.
Over here at 19 years old said, fuck that, I'm gonna go fight in the American Revolution anyways, because I want to. This kid is the equivalent of like a billionaire back then, okay? He had an inheritance that granted him $50,000 a month back in the 1700s.
wow.
It's millions of dollars today. He went down in France to a harbor.
This is the guy that Dan Bilzerian wishes he could be. I shit you not. A billionaire that joins the military because he wants to. He could do anything else. He could just fuck bitches all day and do nothing. And decides to, bro, he's about it. Yeah.
1700s. It's millions of dollars today. He went down in France to a harbor, bought a ship, sailed it to America, and then got in with George Washington and started helping fight against the British. And later on, he is the one that would convince...
Yo, there is a George Washington movie coming out soon. It's called Young Washington. Has that come out yet? 'Cause I'm actually really interested in watching that.
France to help America in the revolution. It's not an exaggeration to say that if this rich kid didn't get a wild hair up his ass to go fight the British, America might not even exist today. And now Peter Francisco is sitting next to him in the field hospital, and they've just become best friends. So they're hanging out in this hospital tent for a few days. They become really good buddies. Marquis de Lafayette's gonna get shipped out to a bigger hospital for more care. And Peter Francisco, he's young, he's a giant, he's a freak of nature. He's already healed and well enough to get back on the front lines. So before they go to part ways, Marquis de Lafayette is like, hey, what do you want? What can I do for you? I want like a token of gratitude, you know, of our friendship or whatever. And Peter Francisco's kind of caught off guard, and he's like, I don't know. I guess I could really use a sword, like a big one, bigger than the tiny ones that you guys are all carrying around. And Marquis de Lafayette is like, obviously, a giant sword for a giant man.
You want a fucking sword, man? I'm gonna give you a goddamn sword.
I'll talk to Washington for you. And that's it. They part ways, and that's the last he hears of it for a while.
The power to save lives is within you. Donate plasma.
And I love that he plays to his strengths. He knows he can't shoot. He knows he's not good at it. I mean, dude, I will say, practice does go a long way when it comes to this type of stuff. But fuck it. We're just gonna go straight signs in this bitch and just swing away.
From here, Peter Francisco participates at the Battle of Germantown, which would ultimately be another American loss. After that, he is detached from the 10th Virginia Regiment and reassigned to a light infantry unit that is, at this point in time, the cream of the crop, the best America has to offer, in many ways, the Special Forces Green Berets of their day. With his new unit, he sees combat at Fort Mifflin, also known as Mud Island, which would ultimately culminate in another American loss before they have to bed down for winter at Valley Forge. We have no idea of Peter's personal...
And wasn't that like right before they... Dude, a lot of these events are leading up to George Washington crossing the Delaware to whoop some ass, right? Because my memory is always fucky, but it's all kind of like coalescing, really. Like, I know of a lot of these battles, and like either from high school or just like videos we've watched in the past, documentaries I've watched myself and stuff like that, so...
Story at Valley Forge, but it's probably because it sucked and nobody wanted to remember it. Basically, they sat there all through winter, froze their ass off. They had very little clothing. Some guys...
Yeah, this is basically on the way to the... Because, dude, it was sucking ass for America. Man, like bad. And they suffered a lot before they finally got their footing.
Didn't have shoes, they were all starving and afflicted with disease, and a ton of people died. Coming out of winter in Valley Forge, the war resumes, and Peter next sees combat at the Battle of Monmouth in June of 1778. Tactically speaking, this battle results in a draw, which isn't great, but up until this point, America was kind of getting their asses beat every time they met them. Now, coming out of Valley Forge, they appear to be fighting better. So that's good. As for Peter Francisco specifically, he gets shot in the leg again, which he proceeds to walk it off and go to his next battle. And that battle is at Stony Point. All right, here's what's going on at the Battle of Stony Point. Stony Point has this fort. This fort is considered impregnable and overlooks the Hudson River, so no ships could get past it without taking cannon.
You said impregnable. That's all you had to say.
Fire, pretty strategic position. The Americans had control of it. The British, utilizing their massive navy, took a bunch of troops up there, took it over, sending the message to George Washington and the Revolution, hey, we got the bigger navy, we can do what the fuck we want. To which...
Basically, pretty much. Anytime you say some shit like that, unbeatable, impenetrable, impregnable, right? It's just like, okay, we'll see. It's just like, it's a challenge every fucking time.
George Washington famously replied, and I quote, bet. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't actually say that, but his actions did. George Washington personally rides up there to evaluate the impregnable defenses of Stony Point, and he comes up with a plan. But first, he needs more intel. He needs to know the weaknesses of this fort from inside the fort. So he has an officer pretend to surrender under a white flag, get inside the fort, and then take a bunch of mental notes of what the best strategy would be. And when he gets that intel back to him, they come to the conclusion that the backside is going to be the weakest. To which George Washington is like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our most elite unit, our best guys, the light infantry that Peter Francisco is currently in. We're going to have them, under the cover of night, sneak around the backside, scale the cliffs, scale the wall of the fort, get in there with bayonets, and kill everybody. In order to do that, we're going to launch a distraction. I'm going to move a bunch of troops up to the fort from the land. We're going to open fire with muskets and cannons at night so I have their attention, and the guys with the bayonets are going to come up from behind them and take the entire fort.
Seems
and they're not just
solid
winging
enough.
this. They've thought this out. They take white pieces of paper and have all the American troops stick them in their hats. That way they can identify each other in the darkness of night. They send scouts out days before to get rid of all the stray dogs so they don't have to worry about a dog barking.
Hell yeah.
And the guys that are going to go around the back end and scale the wall are ordered not to even load their muskets because they don't want to misfire. They're going to scale the wall and get straight into a knife fight. Okay, I'm speculating here, but I'm assuming Peter Francisco is pumped about being on this mission. Okay, he doesn't like the whole let's stand in a line and fire our muskets. He's not that...
Yeah, he's about fighting with a purpose. And this is very purposeful, deliberate, and there's a plan. I'm not a fan of that style of combat either. In fact, I actually fucking hate it. But we had to start somewhere. I understand. And naturally it evolved. It's just my modern brain, dude, really. But even then, I'm glad that Francisco doesn't like that shit either. So that means that there were people back in the day that thought, wow, that's kind of stupid. Good, because I thought y'all all thought that was a good idea.
good at shooting a rifle. He is good, however, at beating the shit out of people up and close because he's a giant. And that is why he's given a special mission within the special mission. Peter, you're gonna be the one that gets to the flagpole and rips down their colors. Okay, because you gotta remember, this is back in the day. This is basically a giant game of capture the flag. If I get to your flagpole, rip the colors down, and raise my colors, we
win.
So we're sending in Peter Francisco to take out whoever you've got guarding that flagpole. I don't know who you guys got playing goalie over there, but they're about to have a bad day. The plan kicks off on July 16th, 1779, right at midnight, when Washington has his men start opening fire on the front side of the fort. After the attack is underway and the British begin firing back, they have the British's attention. The light infantry moves around the outside, being led by Lieutenant James Gibbons. They wade through the waters of the Hudson River, then they scale the walls of the fort, and the first man over the wall is Lieutenant James Gibbons, and the man right behind him is Peter Francisco. As the rest of the men scale the wall, they begin their bayonet attack, and Peter Francisco heads straight to the flagpole. As he approaches it, it is being guarded by a single man, and then the British alarm goes off, but it's too late. There's already hundreds of American light.
If that's the whole fucking point, y'all only put one man to guard that shit? You get everything that's coming to you here.
Infantry inside the fort. As Peter bears down on this lone sentry, the sentry becomes aware of the presence of Peter and...
Oh, but... Well, they didn't know, and I guess they weren't expecting, but still, I guess, getting caught off guard.
Judging by the oh shit look on his face, he's already fired his musket, and he doesn't have enough time to reload. At this point, Peter charges, and to the sentry's credit, the guy stands his ground, and he lunges at Peter and attempts to bayonet him. Peter quickly takes one hand off of his rifle, swats this guy's bayonet away. The bayonet just grazes his abdomen, giving him a 9-inch gash across his stomach, and stabs him with the other arm. Peter then presumably removes the British colors, hoists the American flag, and guards the flagpole for the remainder of the battle, which only lasts about 25 minutes before every redcoat inside the fortress is killed and or captured. Now,
damn, he didn't really have to do much here. That's in my head I was thinking, all right, now go help your homies. They didn't need it.
It's at this point that I need to keep us on track here. Peter Francisco is 19 years old. He's already fought in multiple battles in the Revolutionary War. He's been shot in the leg twice. He now has a 9-inch saber wound across his abdomen, and he spent winter in Valley Forge, freezing and starving to death. At this point, it's probably time to take a break.
Yeah. Some R&R, maybe?
Oh my god, he just ran in.
Yeah, so anyways, the next battle he fights in is Paulus Hook about a month later. We don't know much about what Peter did during this battle, but it was said that he stalked and killed 2 British grenadiers despite his injuries. Next couple of months after that were pretty uneventful, and by December, the army's getting ready to winter down in New Jersey, and Peter Francisco's enlistment is up, so he decides that he's gonna go home.
Hotels.com introduces...
He'll probably be back, more than likely.
So Peter heads back home, and when he gets there, to his surprise, his aura has kind of shifted in relation to everybody else. He's used to getting stared at and getting looks out in public, but it was always, holy shit, look at the size of that one. And now it's, holy shit, that's Peter Francisco, the war hero. People now know who he is. He has respect from pretty much everybody. Aside from that, life just kind of goes back to normal. He's living at Huntington Tower with his dad, and he's shoeing horses. He's working on the plantation. He's just doing Peter Francisco stuff for like 6 months. Except for, now he does have a new thing. He does like to go out drinking with the boys at the local tavern because, well, he served with a lot of these guys. The 10th Virginia Regiment was all recruited from the same general area, and a lot of them also finished their enlistment and came back home. So now he's got a new group of buddies. Then one day the boys are out drinking at the bar. They're having a couple of beers, and then some sergeant from the army comes in and he starts trying to recruit people. Obviously, this starts with swapping war stories, people talking up Peter Francisco, how awesome he is. Next thing you know, Peter Francisco wakes up the next morning after a bender and is then informed that he got so drunk he re-enlisted in the army. And then it gets worse when he realizes that wasn't a Continental Army recruiter, that was a recruiter for the Virginia militia. Okay, I need you to understand how ridiculous this is. Peter Francisco was basically top.
When did they outlaw? Cause, yeah, that just seems... Going into a bar for, as soon as you said recruiter and they're in a bar, I was like, man, that's entrapment. You can't do that. 1700s, man. They had to have done away with that because that
level special
to avoid that right there. That's akin to getting married in Vegas.
Forces operator of his day. He was trained by Frederick von Steuben with the light infantry. He's shared the battlefield with Marquis de Lafayette and George Washington, and he just got drunk and accidentally enlisted in the militia. This is like Rambo joining the National Guard, okay? Like, not that there's anything wrong with serving in the National Guard, it's just we weren't expecting that caliber of person to come through the doors. You know what I mean? It's like a high school football team drafting Marshawn Lynch for their running back.
If you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that over and 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 over.
But you know what? Judge Winston didn't raise him to be a bitch. He said he was gonna do it, so he goes off and does it. So Peter shows up to the militia. He recognizes some other guys.
Yeah, I refuse to be held accountable for the shit that comes out of my mouth when I'm intoxicated.
There, like there's some guys that have previous actual Continental Army experience.
I'm willing to deal with the consequences, but I'm not. You're not gonna hold me responsible.
So that's good, but everybody else is just untrained, whoever Joe Blow that showed up with their own gun. Then the man in charge of the militia, Colonel William Mayo, sees Peter Francisco walking by, and he's like, oh shit, that's Peter Francisco. Hey, come here. Yeah, you're my bodyguard now. Shortly thereafter, he finds himself being the bodyguard for Colonel William Mayo at the Battle of Camden. Now, at the Battle of Camden, the Americans line up against the British. It's 2,100 Americans versus 4,000 British. The Americans have 1,500 regulars, Continental Army guys, and 600 militia. Peter Francisco and the militia are off to one side of the formation, and the battle kicks off. They're trading volleys back and forth, and the British start marching towards them. So the Virginia militia starts marching at them as well. Now, the problem here is a lot of militia at the time didn't have bayonets. All of the British have bayonets. So another volley or two gets fired back and forth, and then it becomes apparent they're about to get into a bayonet fight, and they don't have bayonets, at which point some of them turn around and start running. And then more, and then more, and then more. They're just running past Colonel Mayo and Peter Francisco. Peter Francisco and the Colonel are yelling at their guys, trying to form them back up, trying to reassure them. It's not working. These guys are running for the wood line.
If there was any semblance of cohesiveness with this group, or even just a shred of good communication and movement, I feel that a collective tactical retreat backwards while simultaneously sending volleys in their direction could have bought you some time, man. I don't know. Really get into a different position, but they can't really do that. And a lot of these fuckers, they just said, fuck it. We're not winning, but
And very quickly, it goes from Colonel Mayo trying to get his men to stand their ground to, hey guys, can we at least bring the cannons with us, please? I mean, we're in a war. These are kind of important. They're hard to come by. We don't want to lose them to the British. We're going to need these for later. Let's grab the guns. Nobody listens. They keep running for the wood line. Thinking fast, Peter Francisco
fucking pulled a Joe Biden and just took off and left all your shit.
Evaluates the situation, looks at the gun. The horses that were pulling it are dead now, and he just kind of like walks around it real quick, then lifts it and breaks the cannon tube free from like the wheels and the yoke, and then proceeds to pick it up onto his shoulder and carry it to behind the Continental line because the Continentals are still in the fight. Now, according to legend, this cannon barrel weighed 1,100 pounds, which let's be honest here, that's not humanly possible. There's nobody on the planet that can lift 1,100 pounds. The strongest men today that are Peter Francisco's height or taller and weigh 400 pounds can barely deadlift 1,000 pounds, let alone hoist up an irregular shaped tube of metal onto their shoulder and carry it through a field. And we know this because they got together and they tried. Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, and Robert Oberst, some of the strongest humans to ever walk the face of the planet, with the benefits of steroids and modern science, and they were unable to lift a cannon that was even 400 pounds and complete this feat. They came to the consensus that this cannon probably could have weighed somewhere between 300 and 350 pounds, which is the approximate weight of what a smaller cannon during the Revolutionary War would have weighed. Buh, so he doesn't have superhuman strength. I can lift 300 pounds in the gym. Buh, you can shut the fuck up. You can lift 300 pounds in the gym after you've...
In a controlled environment, fucking with we're in the middle of a fucking war zone right now, buddy.
Stretched and warmed up, and that weight is perfectly balanced and designed to be picked up by a human, and then you can lift it in a very strict mechanical motion. Your ass is not about to pick up a 300-pound metal object that is irregular shaped with a weird weight that you can't get a grip on, hoist it onto your shoulder, and
and the differential on the weight too. That shit probably weighs more to one side than it does the other. Picking it up is all fucking wonky, and yeah.
Farmers carry it through a battlefield while you're getting ran down by British dragoons.
Yeah.
Is the 1,100-pound cannon...
So basically, take your 300-pound fucking bench press, take that 300 pounds, take the bar, take all the plates, and take off out of the gym at full fucking speed, as fast as you can, and then run a mile with said weight. Oh, you're not gonna do that? Then shut the fuck up. I don't even know what...
thing, an embellishment. Almost certainly they probably took the weight of the actual cannon plus the wheels plus the yoke and everything else and said it was 1,100 pounds. But in reality, this man just carried a 350-pound cannon through a battlefield. He is a freak of nature. Cutting back to the actual battle, Peter Francisco drags his cannon back to the Continental Line, gets it to relative safety, and then he hears Colonel Mayo yell, and he turns around and sees that Colonel Mayo is being held at gunpoint by a British grenadier, and he's like, oh shit, I'm supposed to I'm
the bodyguard. I fucked up.
Supposed to protect that guy. So he immediately grabs his musket and shoots that British grenadier. That guy drops, the colonel's saved, and then immediately...
You must have practiced some shooting. You just landed a headshot.
There's a British guy on a horse with a sword.
I think it had to have been a headshot because you got somebody right here, right? You got him. You got him at gunpoint, right? Like this, and
barreling down on the colonel. Peter Francisco quickly runs, shoves the colonel out of the way, stabs.
Never mind. Hold on, I gotta go back. I think he was just kidding.
Pops. The colonel's saved, and then immediately there's a.
I gotta go back. God damn it.
Mayo yell, and he turns around and sees that Colonel Mayo's being held at gunpoint by a British grenadier, and he's like, oh shit, I'm supposed to protect that guy. So he immediately grabs his musket and shoots that British grenadier. That guy drops, the colonel's saved, and then immediately there's a British guy on a horse with a sword barreling down on the colonel. Peter Francisco quickly runs, shoves the colonel out of the way, stabs this British guy off of his horse, and then chases down and grabs the horse. By the time he gets his horse, he's like a couple hundred yards away from the colonel, so thinking fast, needing to get this horse back to the colonel, he grabs a hat off of a dead British guy, puts it on his head, and then he takes his coat off, so he's just rolling around with his undershirt with a British hat on, so the British are just assuming he's one of them, rides through the rest of the battle straight to the colonel, hops off the horse, gets the colonel on the horse, and says, get the fuck out of here. The colonel takes off on the horse, okay, cool, did my job, looks at the rest of the battlefield, the Continentals are starting to retreat at this point, America's kind of getting...
Everything's in shambles at this moment, and this dude is just... He's still going, man.
It's ass kicked, so he's like, I guess I'm going to the wood line too. Goes back to the wood line and he's like, I guess my enlistment's over. My unit's just been disbanded.
I guess.
Fuck this, I'm going home. Which is exactly what he does, thus concluding one of the greatest I got drunk at a bar once with my buddies stories ever. I mean, you talk about dad lore. Like, Dad, what were you like when you were younger? Oh, let me tell you, son. Me and my friends got drunk at a bar once. I accidentally enlisted in the Virginia militia, found myself at the Battle of Camden, where I picked up a 350-pound cannon, carried it to safety, and then I had to spear a guy off of a horse to save the colonel.
And I killed a guy with a trident.
And the best part, Colonel Mayo never forgot about me saving his ass, so when he passed away in his will, he left me 1,000 acres of land and gave me this decorative sword.
This is a sword that was given to Peter Francisco, a hero of the American Revolution.
Decorative sword, huh? That's I'm sure a small part of Peter... Decorative sword? I'm sure a small part of him was a little bit sad that it wasn't a sword to fucking slay with. Imagine he gets it and he's like, oh, dude, thanks. This is nice, but I can't kill anybody with this. This is for show? Really? Okay. Thanks, man, but not much to work with here. But if given the opportunity, maybe he used it. I don't know.
So Peter Francisco goes home for a little bit. Then he starts getting that itch again. He's like, man, riding that horse through the battlefield was kind of fun. Fuck it, I'm gonna go re-enlist again. Now, technically, he does wind up joining the militia again.
I was gonna say that earlier. What Peter did, it actually took him longer time to do it just because he did get out. But I can understand the feeling, right? I understand the mindset. I experienced it both. I experienced it both deployments. I would get home from leave on a break on R&R for 2 weeks from my deployments in Dog. Within that 4th day of me being home, I'm just like, okay, time to go back. Let's do this. Wow, how long am I on leave again? 2 weeks? Fuck, dude, let's go back. I'm ready to go back. Let's go do it. Let's go finish up. That's kind of how that was. I only enjoyed being home for a little bit, and then I was ready to get back. I was ready to get back to it. So, not so much for Garrison. I could have definitely spent longer on fucking leave. Whenever I was just having to go back to the fucking motor pool, but when it comes to combat, it's just more, you know.
But this time it's not a new propped up green militia unit that's never seen combat. This is an established militia that's been fighting for a while, and it's a cavalry unit. Buh, you said cavalry. Buh. No, I didn't. Okay, look, I talk fast, and when you talk fast, the words kind of sound similar, but I promise you, I'll put us all on the same page right now, okay? Peter Francisco will be riding a horse into battle, not the hill Jesus died on, although that would be way cooler. Now shut up. Anyways, the militia's not like on its own doing militia stuff. They're immediately going to report to Colonel William Washington to join his cavalry, and they're going to be fighting in the next battle, so he's basically a regular. And when Francisco's unit does get to Colonel William Washington, this militia unit is oddly well-equipped. Bayonets, new guns, the whole 9 yards. And when they get asked about it, they are informed that, oh, well, Peter Francisco along the way there decided that he was going to sneak into a British outpost and steal a bunch of shit and wheel it out under the dark of night with a hog.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Channeling the inner E4 Mafia.
Sled. So go ahead and add world's biggest cat burglar to this guy's resume as well. Anyways, they're like Peter Francisco.
We needed it more than they did, and we can use it better than they can. So, you're welcome.
Why do I know that name? Oh shit, we have a package for that guy. We've been trying to find him. We're supposed to give it to him. It's from George Washington. Peter has no idea what this is about, so he goes and gets his package. It is a 5-foot-long broadsword.
Yes!
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
He had completely forgotten that Marquis de Lafayette was going to ask George Washington to custom make a broadsword for him to carry into battle. Apparently, Marquis de Lafayette did not forget. The sword is made, and now he has it. I wish I could show you a picture of the actual sword because I want to see it too. Unfortunately, the best I can tell, the sword was destroyed in the early 1900s in a museum fire in Virginia. But I believe it looks something like this, which would be terrifying to have a giant swing at you. How convenient. The sword just disappeared one day. It's almost like it's one big giant legend and myth. No, asshole, the sword existed, and I can prove it because we have documentation in the Virginia State Library that in 1861, Peter Francisco's grandson tried to withdraw the sword from a museum so that he could carry it into the Civil War. We also have the testimony of the people that worked at the museum that supposedly the sword wound up at that said, yeah, there was definitely a massive fucking sword here, but I haven't seen it since that fire. And if that's still not enough to persuade you, it's literally on the bronze plaque on the monument commemorating the Battle of Guilford's Courthouse, which is also known as the Peter Francisco fucking Monument. Anyways.
I'm sold. I was sold already, but...
Speaking of Guilford's Courthouse. All right, the Battle of Guilford's Courthouse. This is the beginning of the end of the American Revolution. What's going on at this point in time is America is just coming off of a humongous win at the Battle of Cowpens. Now, the Battle of Cowpens is a strategic masterpiece. It's my favorite battle of the American Revolution, carried out by my favorite general of the American Revolution, Daniel Morgan, who I've also done a video on, so we're not going to rehash the entire thing. The long and short of it is, Mel Gibson's character in the movie The Patriot, one of the guys that his character is based off of is Daniel Morgan, and the final battle scene of the movie is an amalgamation of the
I saw this movie a long time ago as a kid, I believe. I don't remember much. And on top of that, I think I've only ever seen this movie once, like the one time that I did many, many, many years ago. And at the time, I think I was honestly too young to really understand implications of what the fuck was happening.
Battle of Cowpens and the Battle of Guilford's Courthouse because they essentially play out the same way. Daniel Morgan forms his guys up against Bannister Tarleton, you know, Malfoy's dad from The Patriot, and they have this battle. And during this battle, Bannister Tarleton comes to the realization that Daniel Morgan has made a critical mistake. He has militia forming up the center of his formation, which is something you should never do because the militia are the guys that are most likely to break. They're not as well trained, they're not as well equipped, and they're more
like mercenaries,
likely to turn and run. And if that happens, the entire formation fractures and the battle's pretty much over. So Bannister Tarleton has his men charge for the center of the formation, the militia fires a few volleys, then they turn and run, and the British give the order to chase them down. They're gonna squash the revolution right now, and the militia runs over, up the hill, down the hill, the British chase them, and then all of the militia guys dive onto the ground because there's a shit ton of regulars back there that open
the classic bait and switch
fire on the British. Daniel Morgan baited Bannister Tarleton. This leads to a humongous American victory where they kill, capture, or wound over 1,000 British soldiers. This is a humongous blow to the British military in the Carolinas, and the only force left is the guys underneath General Cornwallis, about 2,100 men. So now the strategy for America becomes...
And I believe they get dealt with as well.
Drive this last remaining force of General Cornwallis's men out of the Carolinas. To do that, George Washington's right-hand guy, Nathaniel Greene, the fighting Quaker, is going to take his army and confront General Cornwallis at Guilford's courthouse. After the Battle of Cowpens, Daniel Morgan's not going to make it because he's sick and bedridden after the battle, but he does take time to write Nathaniel Greene. I'm not going to read the entire letter, but the gist of it is, hey, here's how I won that battle at Cowpens. The play's not broke. Keep using it. Do it again. And Nathaniel Greene takes the advice. He forms up his front line made out of Green militia.
These idiots haven't adjusted. Stay the course.
Instructs them to fire twice and then retreat. Then his second line is also made up primarily of militia, but this is experienced.
But news travels slow. So yeah, this strategy realistically can keep working for a while. It probably works the entire time.
Militia that's going to be able to put up a fight.
But as fast as information travels today, your enemy is going to be ready on the next attempt. So you might as well not even attempt it. You might as well change your strategy after the first go round, really.
This believable, these guys wind up getting off somewhere between 10 and 20 volleys against the British, and then they retreat back into a wood line behind them. The British then chase them through a wood line, breaking up their formation as well, and then on the other end of this small wood line is Nathaniel Greene with all of his best guys on top of a hill with formations and cannons ready and waiting for him. And then as soon as the British enter the open field, William Washington, accompanied by Peter Francisco, is going to ride his cavalry.
It's literally the playstyle of fucking Spider-Man and Marvel Rivals. You literally just keep fucking with people and you bait them into your team, and then that's fucking it.
Into the flank and crush everybody. And that's pretty much more or less exactly how it plays out. Cornwallis...
I mean, you could go crazy and just kill a whole bunch of shit, but for the most part, people see a Spider-Man, they think squishy, right? Easy to beat, right? We got him. Got him. It's 3 against us versus him. Let's chase him. And then you chase him, and then you run into death, really, because... he was never trying to fight you, just trying to get your attention.
Sees the front lines made up out of militia, they break the militia line, they charge, they run into the Virginians, exchange 10 to 20 volleys, the Virginian militia retreats back into the wood line, they follow.
I believe I see militia forming at their center.
The British come through the wood line in discombobulated formations, just as they had planned. William Washington leads his cavalry in a charge with Peter Francisco right next to him. On the first charge, Peter Francisco cuts down 2 men with his broadsword, and then a third man spears him with his bayonet through his calf, at which point Peter Francisco's like... ah! And then presumably the British guy looks up and sees that there's a giant on top of this horse, and he's like...
yo, dude, that poor horse. Forget how I forget how big fucking I forget how big that horse had to have been screaming, or at the very least working overtime anytime fucking Peter was on his ass.
He then pulls his bayonet out of Peter's calf and turns to run. Peter wheels the horse around, chases the guy down, lifts his sword, and I will now refer to an eyewitness account as to what happened next. Lieutenant Philip Holcombe, quote, Francisco's sword hit the soldier squarely on the head with such force that his head cleft in 2, a half falling to each shoulder. The battle rages on. Peter Francisco allegedly kills a total of 11 men with his broadsword before ultimately catching a bayonet at his...
oh man, that just feels so bad. Like, ha! Gotcha! No, it didn't get you. Wow, this is bad. Okay, let's run, and then, yep, there you go, and then you get fucking got. That feels so bad, doesn't it? To give it your all. Straight Linkin Park style, man, and in the end, it didn't even matter. Oh, that feels so terrible.
his knee that rides all the way up to his hip bone, flinging him from his horse. Severely wounded, he stumbles
I missed something. Hold on.
into the wood line sword before ultimately catching a bayonet at his knee that rides all the way up to his hip bone, flinging him from his horse. Severely wounded, he stumbles into the wood line and loses consciousness leaned up against a tree. While he's out, the Battle of Guilford's Courthouse rages on. The Americans are inflicting heavy casualties against the British, but the British aren't giving any sign that they're about to give up. So eventually Nathaniel Greene decides, we've done enough damage, I'm not going to risk the rest of my army. He retreats. Now, despite the fact that the Americans inflicted a 2-to-1 casualty rate against the British, this is still technically and tactically a loss for America because they retreated.
Well, yeah, a win
But
for
strategically,
them.
and looking at the bigger picture, this was a humongous win for America because they crippled Cornwallis's army so bad that he had to retreat back to Yorktown, which set the stage for the siege of Yorktown, which essentially was the last major battle of the American Revolution. But that's beside the point. Cutting back to Peter Francisco, who's currently dying in the wood line, he sits there for hours going in and out of consciousness, and in the hours after the battle, he's found by Quakers that take him in and nurse him back to health for weeks. Ultimately, he winds up surviving. Apparently, bacteria's even scared of this guy, but once he's well enough, he winds up walking back home over 200 miles back to Huntington Tower, Virginia. Also worth mentioning, it's said that sometime after the battle at Guilford's Courthouse and serving under William Washington recommended or offered him an officer's commission, which he refused because he couldn't read or write. This is another one of those small details that gets called out as not being true, so it casts doubt on the entire story because people are dumb and they get confused. They hear Washington, they assume George Washington.
John Hancock. It's Herbie Hancock.
Obviously, George Washington didn't recommend him to be an officer or he'd be an officer. It wasn't George Washington, it was William Washington, who he directly served with. However, we still don't have any primary sources to prove that that happened, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched because what we do have is that after the Battle of Guilford's Courthouse, Nathaniel Greene sent him a gift, a very decorative razor set with a different razor.
Why would he, maybe we're talking about something else. Maybe I missed something. Why would he turn it down because he couldn't read or write? His dad was a judge. Wasn't he very intelligent? Surely his dad taught him this stuff, right? I think. I don't know. Maybe I got lost somewhere and we're talking about somebody else and not Francisco at the moment.
For every day of the week that is now on display in a museum in Greensboro. We still have that today. So very high-ranking people in the Revolutionary military know of him and feel compelled to give him gifts. The notion that they would make him an officer isn't that far-fetched. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. So the Quakers patch him up and he sets off walking 200 miles back home to Virginia.
Oh, shit.
So Peter Francisco's walking his happy ass back home to Virginia, and remember, this is weeks, if not months, after the Battle of Guilford's Courthouse, so a lot of the British soldiers are retreating back to Virginia, which is exactly where Peter's headed. He's by himself, he's wounded, he's got to try to not run into these guys. Everything's going fine, and then when he's in Amelia County, Virginia, he falls, he twists his knee, he's limping around. Luckily, he knows of a tavern nearby, run by a guy by the name of Ben Ward. He makes his way to the tavern, gets some food, he spends the night there, trying to let his knee rest. He is then woken up early in the morning to a sound of a bunch of horses galloping up. He looks out the window. Fuck, it's 9 British dragoons wearing green jackets, meaning that they are Bannister Tarleton's men. Remember, Bannister Tarleton, the bad guy from The Patriot, not that great of a guy. His nickname in real life was the Butcher. Peter, not really knowing what the fuck is going on and not wanting to find out, he assumes the worst. They're probably here to kill me because somebody ratted me out. So he bursts out the side door of the tavern trying to make a getaway, but there's already a dragoon there with his sword drawn, making sure nobody gets out. The dragoon tells him to stop. He stops. At this point, Peter Francisco is kind of realizing, like, okay, this guy doesn't recognize me. A pretty distinct guy. Like, look for the giant. That's who we're looking for. This guy apparently isn't looking for a giant. That's good news. And then right then, all the other dragoons that are still inside the tavern start hooting and hollering because they found the booze. Okay, good. Perfect. They're not looking for me. It's
prohibition.
Just looting. They just want valuables. They want booze.
Or that.
They want whatever. They're not going to kill me. Just cooperate. Everything should be fine. It is at this point the dragoon in front of him says, "Hey, big man, do you have anything valuable, like a watch?" Peter Francisco reluctantly hands over his pocket watch. Like, that sucks. Watches are a big deal in the 1700s, but you know what? I can always buy another watch. The dragoon takes the watch, then sizes Peter up again and says, "What about those silver buckles on your knees?" All right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can part with the watch, but my father gave me that. So, no.
Today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out.
Yeah, the same P&H silver buckles that Judge Winston gave him that he had recrafted from his shoes that he had on when he showed up to America in the first place. You thought I was giving you trivial details earlier, didn't you? No, every detail matters. And now we got a problem because these buckles aren't replaceable. They're sentimental family heirlooms.
Yeah. You're gonna die for some chickens.
Those are family chickens, motherfucker.
Peter Francisco immediately lunges at this poor dragoon, grabs his sword, takes it from him, and then hits him in the head, killing him instantly. The noise alerts
something he could have done immediately and skedaddled equally as fucking fast and no one would have known, but now he made a ruckus because you just had to get ballsy.
the other dragoons inside, and within a matter of seconds, he sees a hand with a pistol coming out of the door next to him. He immediately chops that hand off. Okay, 2 down, 7 to go. At this point, the dragoons inside the tavern think that they're getting ambushed. One of them runs.
Never mind, he's not gonna run. He's just gonna deal with this problem right now.
Out the front and jumps on his horse to go back and alert the formation that he came from. Peter Francisco runs up and spears him off the horse, lifting him off the horse on his sword.
This man kept up with a fucking horse. Maybe the horse wasn't at top speed yet, but damn, yeah, no survivors.
By this point, he realizes the 6 remaining dragoons on the inside think they're getting ambushed, so he plays into it and he yells, "Come on, boys, they're in the tavern, let's get them." This causes the remaining dragoons to run out the back on foot, fleeing back to their formation. Not only does this buy Peter Francisco more time to get away because they're not going to make it back to their formation as fast, he now has a bunch of horses. So he lashes.
And you now have a whole bunch of their uniforms that you can just don and make your travels that much easier.
Them all together in a straight line and takes off.
Don't remember how many. Maybe one.
Tarleton's men never end up catching up to him. On his way home, he sells all but one of the horses, this big, white, beautiful horse that he jokingly names Tarleton. Later in life, he would write that this bar fight was the last favor he ever did for the British, and the bar fight itself is commemorated by a painting that now hangs in the Virginia State Capitol in Richmond. Okay, again, just to reiterate, this man has the most gangster dad lore on the planet. Like, Dad, did you ever get into a bar fight? Let me tell you something, son. When
I shut down the bar and then killed everyone. And then ordered a drink.
Dad gets into a bar fight, they make an oil painting to commemorate it, and they hang it in the state capitol.
Yeah, look at me. This is my bar now. That's, I mean, I'd have his picture hanging up at least a little bit. Fucking can't wait. Not even gonna refresh this one. It's almost over. I don't want to have to back out.
So Peter Francisco makes it back home in one piece. He's back at Huntington Tower with his dad, Judge Winston, and he is now a whopping 21 years old. By today's standard, he's finally old enough to have a beer. Not really knowing what to do, he just kind of picks up where he left off. He starts working on the plantation, he's shoeing horses, and this goes on for a couple of months, and he's making sure he keeps up on the news with what's going on with the war, and then eventually he hears that America's getting ready to challenge the British over at Yorktown, and his buddy's gonna be there, Marquis de Lafayette.
Oh, say less!
Peter Francisco's like, say less, I'm gonna go see my homies, so he hops on Tarleton and rides off to Yorktown, has no issue getting through the front lines as he's riding up on this white horse. Holy shit, that's Peter Francisco, the Virginia giant, makes his way up to Marquis de Lafayette, they get reunited, they start hanging out, they catch up, everything's going great. And then allegedly, around this point in time, Marquis de Lafayette asks Peter Francisco to be his personal aide.
Who's Kyle gonna take?
Then, as the story goes, he was right there by Marquis de Lafayette for the entire Battle of Yorktown. Obviously, Marquis de Lafayette wasn't like up there fixing bayonets on the very, very front lines. He was a battlefield commander. He was, coordinating the battle, but Peter Francisco was right there with him in case anything went down. America goes on to win the Battle of Yorktown. The British surrender. America becomes its own country. And after that, Peter Francisco's like, I don't really have shit else to do, so he just kind of hangs out with Marquis de Lafayette, being part of his entourage.
Nice. Not a bad
Shortly after the war,
gig.
Marquis de Lafayette's getting ready to go back home to France, but before he does that, he's got some fancy parties to attend down in Richmond, Virginia. So Peter Francisco, best friend and bodyguard extraordinaire, accompanies him. So one day, Peter and Lafayette are walking down the street right past St. John's Church, the same St. John's Church that Peter had heard Patrick Henry say the famous line, "Give me liberty or give me death," a few years back that started this entire journey. So Peter's telling Lafayette that, like, hey, I was here when Patrick Henry said the famous line, and as he's telling this story, somebody falls down right in front of Peter Francisco, not even thinking about it. He just lunges forward and catches this person, looks down, and it's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen in his entire life. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Wow, dude. His wife just like literally fell right into his fucking lap. That happened to me, but I don't think she was like, mine was the devil. Yeah, straight up fucking demon.
Is the whole 9 yards. They lock eyes and they are just staring at each other for an awkward amount of time. And then as the story goes, Lafayette has to tell Peter to put her down. Peter gets her on her feet. She says, thank you. They part ways. They keep walking. Lafayette starts giving Peter a hard time. Like, dude, when are you going to find a wife? Women are literally throwing themselves at you. And from here, they just carry on about their day. It was just, you know, weird. Something that happened. Whatever. Moving on. That evening, they go to a fancy officers party together. And, you know, before they get there, they're obviously the main attraction. It's Marquis de Lafayette and his bodyguard giant hero, Peter Francisco. Everybody's talking about them showing up. Everybody wants to meet him. When they get there, Peter Francisco immediately locks eyes again with this same blonde-haired, blue-eyed hottie. They get formally introduced. Her name is Susan Anderson, and she comes to the realization that the humongous hunk that saved her from falling earlier that day is also a war hero living legend. They go out to the garden together, they kiss, they basically both confess love at first sight, but Susan says that you need to talk to her father first and get his permission to call on her. Nothing wrong with
Yeah, that's still a thing today, so I don't hate you for it.
that. That's completely within the realm of standard practice back in the day, especially in the
I mean, I'd like to say that it's still the standard today. Do y'all not do that? I've been married twice. I did it both times. I asked the father for permission. I even flew out of state the first time to ask this motherfucker for permission instead of having him come to me. So I feel like that's still alive today. I don't really, maybe not a lot of people do it.
Aristocratic circles, so Peter Francisco goes and talks to Captain James Anderson, a military officer from an extremely wealthy family. And James Anderson, he's sympathetic, but he's not having it. He's like, ultimately, he basically says, look, Peter, I respect everything you do. Obviously, you're a man's man. That's great. But look, my daughter's used to a certain, way of living life. She's used to certain amenities. And you, as far as I can tell, are...
Translation. Listen, we're rich and you're not, I think.
Uneducated, you don't have a job, you don't own land, you don't come from money, and you're not going to be able to provide her with the same lifestyle that the other suitor that she's currently talking to.
And I would have been like, respectfully, sir, shouldn't that be up to her? I just came to ask for your blessing. Realistically, I kind of don't even need it. I could carry on, but...
Some other military officer from a fancy aristocratic family, he can give her all of that and you can't give her any of it, and I have to do what's best for my daughter. Peter Francisco, discouraged but also not giving up, basically tells Captain Anderson, look, I'm not asking to marry her tomorrow. I'm uneducated, but I can get educated. I don't have money, but I can get money. I don't have land. I don't have all these things, but I can get these things.
Nice recovery.
Captain Anderson, obviously skeptical. They part ways. Susan runs up to Peter. She tells him she heard everything. She was eavesdropping on the conversation. She tells him that she loves him and she's gonna wait for him. The next day, Peter and Marquis de Lafayette part ways for now, and he heads back off home to Hunting Tower, Virginia.
At Car and Driver, we tackle the hard-hitting questions.
Yo, he really is about to get all these things for this chick. Oh, that's what I need? Bet. I'll be right back. Just wait a second. Lord. Oh no. Did it again. Oh no, it's just okay. That's actually
obviously skeptical. They part ways. Susan runs up to Peter. She tells him she heard everything.
Yeah. Good.
She was eavesdropping on the conversation. She tells him that she loves him and she's gonna wait for him. The next day, Peter and Marquis de Lafayette part ways for now, and he heads back off home to Hunting Tower, Virginia. So Peter Francisco returns home. He's as motivated as ever. He has a very tight, very short to-do list. Get an education, get rich, get land,
get the girl.
That's the plan. First thing on that to-do list, get an education. He's gonna have to learn how to read and write, and this is 1781 in Virginia, okay? They don't have GED programs floating around. There's only one way he's gonna get this done, and it's to go back to elementary school.
Back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
Yes, 6'6", 280-pound Virginia giant, claymore-wielding war hero is gonna Billy Madison this shit. Luckily, his teacher, Mr. McGraw, winds up being cool as shit, and on the very first day of class, he knows how cruel and how mean little kids can be, so at the very beginning of the first day of class, he brings Peter Francisco up in front of the class and explains to the kids, like, hey, kids, this is Peter. He doesn't know how to read or write because he spent so much time in the army fighting the British, he never had time to learn, so we need to help him. Also, Peter's the strongest man in the entire army. Peter, show him how strong you are. And then he has Peter lift him up so high that his head touches the ceiling, and the kids are just blown away. Now the kids are on his side. They want to help Peter. And
yo, that's so cool and just heartwarming.
Peter is, in many ways, part of the gang with this group of kids. There's not much to it other than that. He goes to school for a couple of years, learns how to read and write, but there is one other story where apparently the kids would pull pranks on each other all the time, and eventually Peter Francisco decides to pull a prank of his own where he sneaks off and eats all the desserts from all the lunches by himself. Mr. McGraw knows who did it immediately because obviously there's only one person that could have physically done it. It's the 6-foot-tall giant. It wasn't one of the 8-year-olds running around elementary school. So Mr. McGraw, who's pretty good friends with Peter at this point, tells Peter in front of the class, gotta face your punishment just like everybody else. You're a part of the class. And the punishment at this point in time is getting bent over a desk and whipped with a switch. To which Peter is like, come on, I'm a grown-ass man. You're not going to whip me with a switch over the table in front of all these kids. And Mr. McGraw's like, you can take the punishment like everybody else.
Or you could fail the class.
Or you can go home. To which Peter's like, huh, all right, whatever.
The things we do to get laid.
And then he proceeds to get whipped with a switch just like one of the kids would in front of the whole class. Now, at the same time, while he's also going to school, elementary school obviously doesn't take all day, so he's working on making money as soon as school gets out, and one of the first things he does is he takes all his money from serving in the military, he has a military pension coming in, and all the money that he took from selling off Tarleton's horses, and he invests it into his own blacksmith shop and general store. So he's making good money doing that. He starts acquiring land while he's still going to school, and then he accidentally stumbles into this new side gig whenever there was, you know, a town event, a dance, whatever, and there was an issue or a fight. He was always the guy that broke it up. He was basically town security, you know? He's a big teddy bear. He wants to make sure everybody's safe. He didn't mind doing it. Well, that would eventually turn into all the local tough guys would want to see if they're the tough guy, and they would challenge Peter Francisco to a fight, and people would bet on him, and Peter would get paid for winning, and Peter never lost. And then it went from local tough guys to regional tough guys, and then it just became a normal thing in town for some big burly woodsman to stagger in, wanting to challenge Peter Francisco to prove that he was the baddest man on the planet, only to find out he, in fact, was not. And this goes on for the next 3 years. And then in 1784, he's finally finished school. He knows how to read. He knows how to write. He's made a bunch of money. He has a successful business. He owns hundreds of acres of land.
You still need to get the girl.
Goes back to Richmond, Virginia, and he marries Susan. And for a brief moment, everything's perfect. They have their first 2 kids, and then everything goes tragically wrong. Their 3rd child dies, and then shortly after that, his dad, Judge Winston, also passes away. And then shortly after that, his wife, Susan, becomes sick and also passes, and he is now a single father to 2 kids. From here, he does the best that he can. He keeps running his businesses. He keeps having dudes come into town to fight him all the time, but he never loses, and he takes the kids back to Richmond to see their grandparents pretty frequently. Over the years in Richmond, he has frequent run-ins with one of his wife's best friends, a woman by the name of...
But hey, at least he got her. At least he set out to do what he wanted to do. He did get the girl at the end of the day. It's just sad it wasn't for very long.
Catherine Brooke, and over the years they fall in love, and then they get married almost 10 years after the passing of his wife. They're madly in love. They wind up having 4 more kids. Peter's running his businesses. Everything's going great. Everything is perfect. And then the War of 1812 happens. Peter and Susan's oldest son, James, enlists in the army to go off and fight for America just like his dad did. But you know what? Even though Peter Francisco is 52 years old at this point, he's not about to let his son go off and do it alone. He's joining the army too. Okay, to be honest.
Oh, dude, I was sitting here thinking maybe he's going to be like, listen, son, I did it, so that's why I don't want you to do it. But no, he was like, you know what? I'm going with you. The fuck?
We have no idea in what capacity Peter Francisco served in the War of 1812, but it was confirmed by the Department of Veteran Affairs in 1940 that Peter Francisco did serve in the 5th Infantry Regiment in the United States Army in the War of 1812.
Yeah, he's probably somewhere in there. Maybe he wasn't in there to the same effect that he was in there all those years prior. Maybe he just went to look out for his kid. You know, we're just going to hang back in the shadows, and if I see this little guy get into some trouble or he needs a helping hand, I'll be there. Outside of that, we're just going to be invisible. Maybe that was the thought process.
Whatever happens with him in the War of 1812, we don't know, but we do know he survives and he comes back home to Catherine and resumes his normal life, running his businesses, raising his kids, the whole 9 yards. Catherine and Peter go on to live happily married for 27 years in total until yet again tragedy strikes in 1821 when Catherine becomes ill and also passes away. Peter is now 61 years old, his wife has passed away, the kids are all grown up, they've moved out, and he is completely alone.
Gotta get some hobbies, man.
4 years later, in 1823, he would be at some fancy aristocratic party and he would meet another widow, a woman by the name of Mary West from England, and she had also lost her husband and she fell in love with Peter Francisco, the Virginia giant, and they got married. Unfortunately, the third time is not the charm because as far as I can tell, she was a giant pain in the ass the entire time. This may be shocking to some of you, but apparently a fancy aristocratic woman from England doesn't really enjoy living in the back countries of Virginia with a giant blacksmith. But that's what they're doing, so they go back to the country. She's living out there in, you know, his farmhouse out in the woods in Virginia. It's not fancy like she's used to. She's bitching about it the entire time.
That's what the father of the first woman was afraid of. But no, she was, for her, love was enough. For this one, it's not. It's conditional.
She doesn't really care for it. And then about a year later, in 1824, Peter Francisco gets word that Marquis de Lafayette is coming back to America.
Let's go, the homie.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Okay, Peter Francisco's pumped. His homie's coming back to town from across an ocean. He hasn't seen him in like 40 years. He goes to tell his wife, and she's like, I'm not going. My dresses haven't been taken care of. Our carriage isn't nice enough. I can't be seen like this. I'm a wealthy woman. This would...
Bye. That's just too easy. Bye. I will go by myself. I've done it before. I'm not afraid to leave you here. This was just a courtesy. I'm seeing my homie, my war buddy, my battle buddy, my comrade. I'm gonna have a good time whether you're there or not. This is just a courtesy. Peace.
Be embarrassing. I'm not going. And Peter Francisco's like, whatever, I'm fucking going to see Gilbert. So he heads off to meet Marquis de Lafayette. On the way, he lets his kids know, like, hey, I'm going to meet my buddy. This is basically your uncle if you guys want to come see him. All the kids come too, and he is reunited with Marquis de Lafayette. They have a big hug, at which point they catch up a little bit, and Marquis de Lafayette looks at his buddy, Peter Francisco, and says, you know, I'm like doing this tour thing. We're going from like town to town, Yorktown, Richmond. They're throwing parties for me everywhere because I'm kind of an American.
I'm in. That's it.
Hero. I could use a bodyguard. For a week, Peter Francisco and Gilbert go town to town having a fucking ball. It's a great time. And then after about a week, it's finally time to go home and patch things up with the wife, Mary. Luckily,
let's not. I don't want to go back. You know what, kids? Go find yourself a spot that you might like. Go pick out an apartment or a house. Find your room. We're going to stay. It's cool.
He's not coming back empty-handed. He's got good news because while he was on this week-long bender, he ran into one of his friends, a Virginia State House delegate, Charles Yancey, and Charles Yancey offered him the job as the House of Delegates Sergeant-at-Arms for the state government of Virginia. And that job comes with an apartment in the prestigious Columbia Hotel in Richmond, Virginia, the state capital.
Why do I feel...
Pack your shit up.
So Peter gets to come back home and is like, hey, everything you've hated for the past couple of years.
Oh God, why do I get the feeling that this still isn't gonna be good enough for this one? Let's see.
It's all over. We're moving into a fancy apartment in a fancy hotel in the city capital, and you can live your, aristocratic lifestyle, and I just have to be the sergeant at arms and kick people's asses, which is what I've been doing forever anyways. And for the next 6 years, Peter Francisco, at the age of 63 years old, served as the sergeant at arms for the Virginia State.
Oh, she had nothing to say? Cool. Good. I was starting to think that the only thing y'all had in fucking common was the fact that y'all were both widowers. Sweet Jesus.
House of Delegates. And you gotta remember, this is the 1800s. We're still well into the era of politicians getting riled up and beating the shit out of each other. And Peter Francisco is gonna be the guy in the room.
Yeah, I will say this. I would like to see more. I wouldn't mind that. See more physical confrontations between politicians. You know what? How about y'all swap it out instead of sending 20,000 troops to solve this fucking problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do it.
That's there to settle everything down. And for the next 6 years while Peter Francisco was a sergeant at arms, everybody was awkwardly fucking civil. Okay, he might be an old man, but he also might have one left in the tank and nobody wants to find out.
Yeah.
In the 6 years that he was sergeant at arms, there was one occasion where the Speaker of the House had to order somebody to be removed, and that person was promptly picked up by the back of their neck and their belt line, carried out of the House, and
Dude was literally a fucking bailiff.
Thrown out like it was the bartender from The Simpsons. He would continue to serve as the sergeant at arms until 1831, when at 71 years old, he would fall ill and eventually pass away from what doctors now believe to have been appendicitis. And that is the story of America's Hercules, the Virginia giant, Peter Francisco. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon. Links for both of those over at thefatelectrician.com.
Hold on. Hold on. I get this a lot in the comment section. You gotta watch to the end. Okay, I got it. I almost fucked it up again. Sorry.
Bang out.
Hold on.
I couldn't figure out how to work this into the video without like breaking the whole flow. But in 1806, there was another story that Henry Clay came to visit Peter Francisco. Henry Clay is, known as the great negotiator. He's cousins to Cassius Marcellus Clay, the most gangster politician in history, like famous, important guy. And Peter Francisco supposedly told him this story about how, people are always coming to fight him and he's always beating people up. Well, on one occasion in 1806, this one guy showed up and he wanted to fight Peter Francisco, and Peter just wasn't in the mood this day. He was getting tired of doing this all the time. So he just like, no, we're not fighting. We're not doing this. And the guy's like adamant, like, no, you're going to fight.
That's why I kind of like rolled my eyes at first whenever he said earlier that the guys from all over would come to try to fight him. And I'm just like, that's the downside of being the toughest one. Because that shit will eventually just get like, ugh.
Fight me. And Peter's like, no, I'm not. And I think they called him Mr. Pamphlet in the story. And he's like, all right, well, let me feel your weight. And Peter's like, whatever, dude, fine. So the dude picks up Peter Francisco. He's like, holy shit, you're heavy. And Peter Francisco is just like over this whole situation. And he's like, you know what? Let me feel your weight. So the guy like raises his arms and lets Peter Francisco pick him up. And Peter like picks him up once, picks him up twice. And on the third time, he squats down, picks him up, and throws him over a 4-foot wall off of his property. That dude's still on the ground, like trying to gather himself. And Peter just goes, are we done here? And the guy's like, you might as well send my horse over next. So Peter pushes this horse up against the wall. It's only a 4-foot high wall. So allegedly, he was able to push the horse up enough and over enough to topple the horse over the wall after him. And the guy's just like, I'm satisfied. I'm fucking leaving.
That's it. You know what? I don't need to fight you. Actually, I just wanted to see for myself. I saw. I'm fucking good. Yeah. That man. So there's one guy that fits this description. He was in my unit when I was at Fort Stewart. And he went by the last name of Hunter. Hunter was 6'6", about 235, pure muscle. Looked like, I'm telling you, man, he looked like J.J. Watt. You know who J.J. Watt is? Plays for the Texans. Big motherfucker. I can't remember what position, but he plays defense, I think. Just big. Just fucking massive. And he had a really deep voice. He always spoke like this. Falcon, what's good, man? How's your afternoon going? And I'm just like, good God, do you eat testosterone for breakfast? What is that? Or actually, what is that? Like, I had to look up at this guy. We all did. And it was just, he was so massive and he stuck out. And in my head, I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way they make uniforms that big. That's crazy to me. And no, yeah, he was, there was this thing, and when I was stationed at Bagram, there was this like Mr. Olympia type competition where like really, really fit soldiers, they'll like compete the same kind of way that Mr. Olympia bodybuilders compete. They did the whole bronze thing and the bronzer and stuff like that. And this is when we were deployed, and fucking Specialist Hunter, he participated and he won because like this guy was jacked. His muscles had muscles, man. It was redunculous. So yeah, all right, guys, gals, whoever's still in here, that's gonna do it. That is gonna do it for the rest of the day. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I did. There's some stuff from here that I'll probably clip, upload as its own video. Probably this, because the non-stream watchers like watching the videos. So do that for them. Tomorrow we should be live on Twitch, so if you have music requests, go ahead and throw those in there. In whatever section you qualify for. And that was y'all tomorrow. I'm out. If y'all need anything, y'all can hit me up on Discord or DM, whatever the case may be. And yeah,